Welcome to the Texas Go Radio Show. Merry Christmas Eve to everybody. This is Owen Benjamin's live stream from 2104. So I guess this is from yesterday. And there's no audio.
The Big Lebowski, ladies and gentlemen, let's do it. It's a beautiful sunny Christmas Eve in New Zealand. I'm enjoying from my computer where I'm editing. Oh, Wobbly Bear, I can't wait to see what you come up with. Is the audio good? Got to take those off? No problem. All right, ladies and gentlemen, The Big Lebowski is a perfect demonstration of the narcissist and the empath. And it's great because it shows the both sides, like the bad side of both. Walter is a codependent empath, and the Big Lebowski is a narcissist. And then Purple Jesus, what that is.
Okay, so I was able to catch, shout out to Liz. Merry Christmas to you, Liz. Merry Christmas to all of y'all. Liz's live stream from the other day, and she was playing the, what was it? Hanging with Bears. And I guess it's Copper Bear. She was talking about empaths and narcissists. And so I find that's interesting that that's what Owen Benjamin's talking about. Snoring in the Valley. How are you doing first? Good to see you snoring in the Valley. Hopefully your morning is going well. It is 5:31 a.m. here in Texas.
It is, and it's a truther movie with crazy, crazy symbolism and all kinds of deep meaning and all kinds of stuff. And so today I really want to get into it and what Maud represents, what the Sam Elliott character represents. It is absolutely a symbolic treasure trove. It has commentary on masculinity, 9/11, the seeds of feminism taking over Hollywood from the hippie generation and the failed masculinity of the dude. It's pretty great. How are you guys doing today? Is everyone good? I had really good reaction from the last episode, the Friday episode. I got text messages from old friends about it. So I'm glad that you guys enjoyed that. Hope you guys are all doing well. Toronto Jew Bears in the house. Hey, everyone on Roll on Shabbos. Are you pumped about Big Lebowski? Yeah, the Coen brothers are brilliant guys. And there's some pre-programming in this movie that's so unbelievably on the nose. I just don't assume it anymore. I think some people can be receptive to artistic synchronicities and whatnot. I don't know what people know, but I do know that that sometimes art just nails it. All right, so let's start with super chats if we have any. Codsworth, we don't have any, but that's fine. No one. Oh, I got a ton of great, absolutely epic mail.
Oh, wow. So is he trying to practice self-control with that? He was about to say no one cares, and he stopped himself.
Some great presents. Somebody, I hope I have the letter in here. Somebody sent me the Smith Family Band gear where it was 4 little boxes with harmonica and a kazoo and a hairbrush and salts for the bath. It was just very thoughtful, and I really appreciate it. Someone else sent me like one of these. For those of you just listening, it's a bike burned into wood. I mean, I have like lots and lots of cool stuff. Finksburg Bear sent me a great jersey, lots of letters, some real generosity, and I appreciate it, guys. Oakland's in the house. I'm into your Twitter. Thanks for pushing back against the gays, says AZ Culver. Yeah, no problem. I find it fun, and I can play you the video I posted about how to deal with narcissistic personality disorder and not to do what I do. It's all about disengaging. It's all in the Big Lebowski. It's all in the Big Lebowski. The way the dude treats Mr. Lebowski is exactly how you treat a narcissist. And I love the Big Lebowski also because it's very important to know it takes 2 to tango. So that just because I'm more on the empathetic side, I'm more on the creative side, somebody that's more prone to suggestion, can self-doubt.
He's more on the empathetic side. Oh my. The delusions of Owen Benjamin just grow. That's insane.
All that stuff. It doesn't mean you're good. You can be good or bad. You can be crazy on either side. And Walter Saboznik, I think that's his name, from Big Lebowski, is the textbook example of crazy on the empath side. So I know I've been making fun of narcissists, and I did Narcissism Week, and I was right on the money about that. But don't think just because you're not a narcissist that you don't absolutely feed into it, because there's something wrong with you too. Right? Like, Walter has horrible issues with boundaries, overreacts, can spot psychos, but then does a lot of damage to people around him. Absolutely is a doormat to his ex-wife. It's not like you're an angel if you're empathetic, if you can feel what people feel, because that's why, morality is important. Okay. So just so you know, I'm not saying that the narcissist feeds on people like me. Yeah. Like, from the time I was young, narcissists are attracted to, and I haven't really dealt with it in romance that much. For me, it's more like
Okay, so he's still talking in circles. He hasn't finished an actual thought pretty much since he started in the last, what, 5 minutes or so. But yeah, let's go ahead and read up on the what is this? The Mayo Clinic overview. Narcissistic personality disorder is a mental health condition in which people have an unreasonable high sense of their own importance. Owen Benjamin. Most cult leaders you will find are narcissists because they feel as though they are important enough to be a cult leader. Obviously, um, they need all of the attention. They need and seek too much attention and want people to admire them. People with this disorder may lack the ability to understand or care about the feelings of others. But behind this mask of extreme confidence, they are not sure of their self worth and are easily upset by the slightest criticism. I mean, that is Owen Benjamin spot on. But let's go back to Owen saying how much he's an empath. Empath.
uh, business relationships, the internet. You know, like in my life now, I have to like actually study this shit to better understand it. But it's because you have emotion, you're easier to suggest, you can put yourself in other people's shoes, and they love that. But it's you that also engages with it. And then you can be a victim over it. Like, you can complain about, oh, what the narcissist is doing to you. No, no, that's you doing the same thing. It's just on the other side. Say what you will about the tenets of National Socialism, dude. At
Oh,
least
so he's still back to well, not still back to. I bet he never left it, but his ability to blame the victim no matter what the circumstances. He is always the perpetual victim, and nobody can be the victim except for Owen Benjamin, and that's an important characteristic that, or reality of the bear cult that should be understood. Propaganda. How are you doing? Merry Christmas Eve, Propaganda LTD. It is good to see you.
it's an ethos. Yeah, the quotes in this are unbelievable. So we just kick it off. So no super chats yet. If anybody wants to add anything or whatever, entropystream.live/app/Owen Benjamin comedy, or on Rumble. If you just do all one word Owen Benjamin in the search,
So is that not kind of crazy that it's what was this? This was yesterday, so it's December 23rd. He opens his live stream trying to read super chats, and he has none. Has that been pretty much the theme in the last couple of weeks of the super chats are dried up?
you can find my channel and you can super chat there, or Odyssey, or D Live, or PO Box 490, Sandpoint, Idaho 83864. Owen is the tank in the video game realm. He absorbs all the hits and damage and remains on the front line. Yeah, because I don't put my identity, or I don't take it personally with Twitter and psychos. And like, I'll show you Mr. Lebowski. Like, that is all these guys being like, you, sir, don't know science, sir. They're so full of shit. I'm having some of the best conversations with actual scientists about how to prove what the earth is from a genuine perspective.
So I'm not saying people can't grow, but right after, it was probably within the first 3 months of him being back on Twitter. He literally had a stream where he said that he thought the reason why he was back on Twitter is because, it was pretty much designed in order to destroy him. To, what did he call it? Demoralize him or something. It was definitely in the reason why he was back on Twitter is because they allowed him to be back on Twitter to hurt him, is pretty much what his mindset was, because it wasn't his echo chamber.
Like, you guys have watched me for years. I haven't been I don't call people globetards and shit. Like, just when you're thinking about the shape of the earth, the abuse you take, everyone, myself included, can get a little nasty. But I don't know what the earth is. And I've been saying that for years. I don't know. I just know how hard it is to show or prove a spin or a curve. And that's why you'll see people go nuts, because it really is hard. I'll show you the math. I'll show you all this stuff. We can go over it again, but it's actually really difficult. The highest level physicists, mathematicians, scientists, even if they're completely sold on the spinning globe, will be the first to admit how absolutely brutal it is to try and prove. And that's all I'm talking about. It's not an identity to me. Like, when there was a 24-hour sun in Antarctica, I felt no shame, nothing. Like, I'm just really into science. I actually am. Okay, is everybody in? You guys want me to start it off? And so when I see people react like narcissistically, it doesn't bother me. I mean, Devin Stack is now saying that flat earthers are worse than pedophiles. I mean, but that does affect people. Like, that does, let me just download that video. I'm going to play it for you guys later. I think I summarized it pretty well here, because I got a lot of comments and texts and stuff from people saying that this video really helped them, because understanding how to navigate a narcissist is really helpful. And you don't engage directly unless you're doing it to be funny. Like, I do it professionally, and I've set up my life.
Propaganda says he chose something he knew was difficult for the average math education to calculate. Are you talking about Owen or Devin Stack? Or I'm so far out of the loop. I haven't watched anything to do with Owen since the last time since I watched Liz's live stream.
So that their insane, bratty, childlike tantrum of slander and attacks and unlimited righteousness to hurt anyone that questions them doesn't really affect me these days. You know, I live on a farm in Idaho. I do it so you don't have to. And I want to really explain that to people, because I don't want people to be like, I want to be just like Owen. I'm going to confront this narcissist, tell him he's a liar in front of my coworkers, and then I'll win. No. You can't win. Like, they won't. You're not playing the same game. That's like screaming pass interference.
Him saying no. Now Owen is the only one
In
that
baseball.
is qualified in in the realm of battling narcissists. Propaganda says, yeah, Owen, he was talking about how he knew it was difficult to prove one way or the other, and then he went into the mathematics. Was he? I mean, I didn't see it, but was he right? I know that's probably a stupid question, especially considering that we're talking about Owen. But Hunter Johnson, how are you doing, Hunter Johnson? It's good to see you, man. Oh wow, Merry Christmas, TG Propaganda LTD. It is good to see you. Merry Christmas to you, Hunter.
Like, you're not in the same game. Okay. What up, Emery? Okay, so let's start things off with Walter. The codependent empath. He bats 1,000. He's right about just about every single thing in the movie, but he clearly has problems. Like, he causes a lot of problems to people around him. He can't regulate his emotions. We'll talk about it. All right. I was just pondering that, baby. You taking the hits for us? It's my job. I don't go out to my electric lines when the electricity goes down. I don't go out there and risk my life to get my electric back. Someone else does that. I appreciate that. I'm the dude that'll sit there and just casually be like, no, it doesn't. No, that's wrong. You're full of shit.
It's insane that he'll sit here and try to break down narcissism to his cult. Well, I say it's insane. It's crazy to think that somebody can be standing there with, I mean, this is just metaphorically, right? Standing there with a knife in their hand, with blood all over them, a dead body right next to them. And then somebody walks in and then talk their way out of it and convince them somebody else is the one that did it. Because that's what he's doing with this whole narcissism thing. Whenever he just described one of the characters in The Big Lebowski, he's literally talking about himself. But this is one of the things that cult leaders do to their cult. I don't know if you'd call it gaslighting or whatever, but they talk about themselves in such a way that they present it to where they're talking about somebody else. But it's crazy that they just don't pick up on that. Propaganda. He said it at the beginning and then he changed the subject and started talking about Devin Stack. Oh, right. Propaganda. I've been timestamping his streams. This is one of his tactics for sure. Propaganda. He constantly changes the subject and then circles back 30 minutes later. Right. And rarely ever comes to a conclusion. Hunter, I saw some of this on Covert Radio. He is 100% projecting. I haven't seen, I haven't checked up on Covert's channel in a minute. I've missed a lot of his videos, I do believe. Johnny Arcade, Merry Christmas. How are you doing, Johnny Arcade? It's good to see you. Merry Christmas to you too, sir. Always good to see you. Propaganda. He's also watching the clock. His streams timestamp out on 30-minute intervals. Right. Fraser, long time no here, TG. Hoping all is well with you and yours, and have a blessed Christmas with your family. And Merry Christmas to all. May the new year bring you all calm and resolve. Amen. Fraser, right back at you. Merry Christmas to you, and hopefully all is well with you and yours as well. Oh, Johnny Arcade about to go fishing. That is what's up, sir. Hunter Johnson. Awesome. Johnny is here. Merry Christmas, good sir. Be careful out there on them waters, Johnny.
To a narcissist with like a billion followers. Like I'll do that to like the top guys. And they will do these, they go crazy. And other people don't care. It's not like people look down at me for it. It's not like my listeners are like, oh, did you hear what this crazy narcissist said about Owen? Apparently,
what he just said, and I do that with the top guys. I forget. Like I said, I haven't watched any of Owen in the last couple of weeks, except for I was able to catch some of Liz's live. But I often forget how much he sounds like a child telling a story. I do that with the top guys, people. Like, okay, Owen.
apparently he lied about being deplatformed from comedy clubs, and it was really because he killed a guy. You know, it's so obvious when they're lying, and also, or when they're like, oh,
see, but that's another thing that he does. He says a partial truth because he did deplatform himself, but nobody said it was because he killed a guy. Nobody said that ever. I've never heard anybody say that. He deplatformed himself because he wanted to rebrand himself as the most banned comedian. Johnny says, Merry Christmas, Hunter. Again, a Merry Christmas to Johnny. Johnny, Owen put out some crazy tweets last night. Complete projection. He's going insane. Thank you for the heads up on that, Johnny. I haven't checked. I haven't been on Twitter in, I can't even remember. Probably 3 weeks at least. So I appreciate you giving me the heads up on that, Johnny.
oh, if you question the shape of the earth, you're worse than a pedophile. All it does is shame people, where they're like, I just don't want to say anything because I don't want that guy to go crazy. You know, I don't care if they go crazy. I don't love being attacked, but it's like, I don't think you should do that at all because they're legitimately crazy. Okay. So let's start things off. I love Donnie. Donnie's the real hero of the whole thing.
I'm surprised that he's doing a Big Lebowski, especially this close to Christmas. And it's this comment right here There's multiple comments. The reason why I read a lot of the comments because I don't want to miss saying hi to people and different information. Propaganda. Devin Stack went hard. Adam Green also lit him up. That's hilarious. Frazier, you'll get this, TG. My son, 13 years, is now picking away on guitar to Uncle Lucius. Keep the wolves away. He cracked my Spotify and loves it. That's awesome, man. I love that song. Keep the wolves away. That's awesome. Keep pushing him. I know, especially because I took guitar lessons whenever I was a teen, and then I lost interest. And I really wish that my parents would have been like, "Nope, you're sticking with it." But there was a lot going on, and I don't blame them. But if there's times whenever he doesn't want to, and he just needs that little bit more encouragement to keep going, I would encourage you to do that because he'll appreciate that later on. I appreciate you sharing that, Frazier. Cheers, at Hunter. Have the best.
Let's start things off with Walter and his inability to have boundaries. Okay. Oh, and by the way, Walter is the only successful businessman in the entire movie. Here we go.
I'm slamming him tonight.
Okay, so I'm kind of torn on playing because there's other YouTube channels that do play clips. I'm pretty sure we can get away with it. So I'm just going to let it play. I might stop it.
You guys are dead in the water.
All right, way to go, Donnie! If you want, it is no dream.
Fucking 20 minutes late, man. What the fuck is that?
But we've all seen The Big Lebowski at least a couple times, I would imagine. I know I have. So there's no
10 years before. Like the gravy in here is intense. But let's first analyze their personality types.
Will it, dude? It is bowling. You brought it bowling.
The Pomeranian, and it's a show Pomeranian, so she
propaganda says Owen doesn't understand what happened. He didn't listen to Black Pill's stream. Stack declared war on him. Are you saying Devin Stack declared war on Owen Benjamin? Oh my, I wonder what happened with that. I mean, obviously I can understand that, but I wonder if there was a catalyst, like a certain moment where Devin was like, yeah, I'm gonna have to.
can't be alone. Well, his ex-wife is on vacation with Marty Ackerman, a new higher level Jew. And Walter isn't even Jewish, but he still has the Jewish identity because of his ex-wife. Coen brothers are my favorite. Oh, they're geniuses. Absolute geniuses.
Take care of her fucking dog while she and her boyfriend went to Honolulu. I told her
about his ex, but he has huge issues with boundaries. He's letting someone walk all over him because of their needs. Now, the scene switches immediately to issues with rules and someone violating his boundaries when it's minimal. Of course, I'm talking about Smokey going over the line. One thing about this type of guy, and I relate, his rules are very important because you're like, because when you, and again, I'm not crazy like Walter. I get it. Like, I'm not saying that this is me at all.
I haven't seen it in a minute, so but him saying that he's not crazy like Walter, yeah, of course. Owen Benjamin is far more insane, I would say.
Saying this is the extreme version. But I know a lot of you guys probably relate to this too, because the truther world is filled with these type of people. You can feel and sniff out psychopaths, spells, narcissists, liars, but you don't always get it right. And if you don't have a set of rules, you can just go nuts and just start yelling at people. So here, because the world is in a balance, so he has issues with his ex-wife with boundaries and someone breaking the rules and blah, 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 but he doesn't see it. And he's just completely taken over by it. But Smokey, on the other hand, for some reason, he does not tolerate any issues of boundaries.
15 minutes in, he's already asked for his super chats a couple times. He has none, and he just dropped his first blah, blah, blah. IQ 147. Hunter says, those all describe you, Owen. 100%. Absolutely.
Violation.
It's really interesting to watch somebody describe themselves to their cult and get away with acting as though it's somebody else that he's talking about.
Now, let me check the Speakeasy Saloon. God, am I still live? Let me check the WhatsApp. Let me just, I do have one super chat. AZ Golf Bear. Thank you, Owen and Cod. Merry Christmas, Bears. You as well, AZ Golf Bear. Let me check out. Kyneton, we still live? Oh, Cod's typing. All right, sweet.
Does he not have a chat? Why does he keep asking if he's live or not? How would he not know that on his end? Johnny says he posted the results. The results to what exactly? Like I said, I'm sorry. I'm so out of the loop. I know that there was the whole Antarctica thing, and I thought about hopping on and seeing what was going on with that because I knew he would have an opinion about that. But as far as the Devon stack and all that kind of stuff, I have no idea what's going on.
Yes, you are. All right, good. So let's check out what Walter does immediately after. All right. So he is watching his ex-wife's dog. And now this happens.
Fucking dog has fucking papers.
Over the line!
Huh?
I'm sorry, Smokey. You
Toe slipped over a little.
What he witnessed in Vietnam for an empath has, and
Johnny says he's on Twitter asking Grok about D. I can imagine what that D means, but would you mind clarifying that? Oh, what? I was joking about that. I didn't really. What is wow? What's he doing? I mean, I know he's a dog whistle for a whole lot of that sort of stuff.
and so here Walter is right, but he's now about to enforce this line that he will not let someone cross very, very forcefully. Okay. And you just saw how he could not establish a boundary with his ex-wife, but now poor Smokey here is about to get a real enforced boundary.
Game, man.
This is a league game. This determines who enters the next round robin. Am I wrong?
Yeah, but I wasn't.
Am I wrong?
Yeah, but I wasn't over. Give me the marker, dude. I'm marking an 8.
See, and then Walter's like, am I wrong? Like, am I wrong that this isn't important? And Smokey says he's not over the line, but he was. Right? The dude confirms it. Walter confirms it. Donnie remains quiet. And so now Walter is saying that, no, you were over the line. He's asked if he was wrong. People are like, the only thing that they're doing now is they are denying reality. And now Walter is about to enforce.
Holy mother of turpentine. Johnny said he's on Twitter asking Grok about dicks. And Johnny is not exaggerating, nor is he lying. He really is. Just a little side quest real quick. AI is the worst thing that happened to the NWO. We really are on the verge of the Great Awakening. Time to ask the real question. What percentage of gays use math to count? That's insane. That's crazy behavior. There isn't any scientific data or research that specifically measures the percentage of gay individuals who use math to count anything, including sexual partners, such a question might stem from stereotypes or humor, but in reality, mathematical skills and interests are personal and vary widely among individuals regardless of their sexual orientation. Wow. Johnny says his best tweet from last night starts with, wow. Johnny Arcade, narcissists make even worse supporters than enemies, and here's why, especially if it's public. Owen Benjamin's breasts, welcome back, GOAT. Good to see you, Owen Benjamin, OBB. It's good to be back. Merry Christmas Eve. Frazier at Johnny, as in NFL Grok. I'm a Scott, but no of Grok. I don't use Twitter, however. If that's what he's tweeting, that's madness. Grok is an AI that Elon created for Twitter. And you pretty much, it's, I guess, I don't know. I haven't really used it, but it's pretty much AI type stuff. Salute to you, OBB. Propaganda. I've got to surf Twitter a bit. I follow him, but I never see his tweets. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to go over to Twitter here in just a little bit. That's insane.
Smokey, my friend, you're under a world of pain.
Would teach you about trigger control. Like no gun owner would hold a gun like that. It really actually it frustrates me. I think he's frustrated that he couldn't stand his man with his ex, but he has authority at the lanes. I think he genuinely still has tremendous empathy for his ex-wife. That's why he like, to me, he acts like he cares. He doesn't act jealous. He acts like he really cares about the dog, and he cares about the beautiful tradition of Judaism from Moses to Sandy Koufax. Like he's just all in. He's motivated by heart, and he's one of the only characters in the whole movie that admits he's wrong. And he also has a very touching movie when he breaks down like a child apologizing. I'm telling you guys, this is a ridiculously.
Why did he just describe that way? He had a really touching movie. Harry Mike, how are you doing? Good morning. Merry Christmas Eve. He's the rooster. Johnny, his Twitter is lit lately. He's seriously going insane, just like he said his father did from lying. Wow. Parody Mike. Ain't found a way to chill me yet. Lies burn while fingering threats. Seems Jesus's path leads me to somewhere. Wife and kids farming pets. Amy grins. Was a safe bet. The children dreamed of me from somewhere. Here they come to snuff the red pill rooster, or snuff red pill rooster. Yeah, here come red pill rooster. Yeah. I like that. Parody Mike.
Deep movie when it comes to human condition. The Coen brothers, I mean, I should go through their movies and shows. They are masters at understanding human nature. And so Walter is not just like a crazy person. This is his psychological breakdown. He over empathizes with certain people. He can see right into people. He knows when they're frauds. He knows when they're liars. He knows all of it immediately. How he reacts is wild, and it can cause harm to people around him. But he absolutely feels guilt and apologize, and he's also a man of action. He does what he says. He cares about his friends, but he's crazy. And he's like what happens when you don't think about your behavior, when you let yourself go. Like he is a weak man.
So what he's doing right now with this is humble bragging or something similar. He's obviously talking about himself with this. Because one of the things that Owen does, he very rarely ever talks about a real human person this way. It's often in characters, but it's his what would that be? His savior complex. He's the main character. Right? He is the cult leader. That's the reason why cult leaders are cult leaders, because they have to be the center of attention. And if he's giving praise to somebody else, it's probably going to be a fictional character, and it's probably because he's comparing himself to that character.
And, he's a broken man.
You mark that frame and 8, you're under in the world of pain.
It's a comedy, obviously, but it's like, that's so funny. It's just so ridiculously funny. And that's why this movie became a cult classic, and Walter is a cult character, because it's so relatable to a certain type of guy where you just can't believe people don't follow the rules. But at the same time, you just don't, he doesn't see it with his ex-wife. Like when someone's really close to you is when you're the blindest to it. And it's also from his trauma and Nam, but he is, in my opinion, attempting to do the right thing. He just keeps fucking it up.
Bucket zero!
Walter, get the piece away.
Yeah, like obviously pointing a gun at anyone in this situation is absolutely, like, he should go to jail for that. Like, I'm not justifying his behavior. I'm just saying, like, what like what is going on is fascinating.
You think I'm fucking around here, Market Zero?
And then
Parody
watches
says-
the emotional
Parody says, I wrote this like 5 years ago when I used to watch him. That's awesome.
regulation
really do.
shifts really quickly. As soon
Nope.
as
I really do like that. Parody Mike, Oscar Mayer Wiener or Oscar Mayer Wiener? Johnny Rogan started his podcast today in 2009. That's interesting. Wow. 15 years later. #1 podcast. That's crazy.
as soon as the threat backs down, he lets it go immediately. Like he doesn't stay angry at all. And that's another sign.
All right, it's fucking zero.
Integrity of the entire thing. All right, so here is Walter talking about being Jewish.
When do we play?
It's Saturday. We're kind of.
Saturday. Well, I have to reschedule.
Walter. Well, woman, man. What am I going to tell Lebowski?
Come on, dude. Eventually she get tired of her little game in the oven, and I sure as shit don't.
Like structure. You're like, you gravitate towards that. Now in the movie, he rolls. Now he does everything on Shabbos. Like he doesn't stick to it at all. But he's so fired up to stick to it. But then he just doesn't. I don't know, man. I think that character is so freaking funny.
Sheesh.
Shabbos, Shabbos.
Take money away from the foundation because the Big Lebowski is actually broke. I have another theory that it's actually Maud behind the whole thing, and we'll get to that. But I just want to analyze the psychological breakdown of each character.
That's it. I'm out of here.
Oh, come on, dude.
Sorry.
Dude.
This whole fucking thing.
Dude, whose name is Jeffrey Lebowski, gets confused with a really rich guy named Jeffrey Lebowski, and some thugs that work for a pornographer break into his house and pee on his rug. And so he's now on a journey, goes down the rabbit hole. There's a lot of references to Alice in Wonderland. He's looking for a woman named Bunny. He's following the bunny. There's a key, all kinds of symbolism, but doesn't really matter. And so he's trying to find his rug. He goes to the rich Jeffrey Lebowski and says, these guys peed on my rug thinking that it was you. Because the rich Jeffrey Lebowski, played by Philip Seymour Hoffman, his wife is a...
How many of his, I didn't look through his recent streams. Has he just been doing movie reviews here lately? Because I know that's what he falls back to whenever he didn't want to be his authentic self, for the lack of better words.
young porno chick who owes money all over town. And these guys are going to collect the money and pee on his rug. And the dude thinks that it's Lebowski's, he should pay him the money, does not pay him the money. They get involved in this film noir where it's kind of a parody of a film noir called The Big Something. There is a movie that's...
Donnie says movie reviews and telling his fans how much he isn't lying to them. Wow. Yeah. That doesn't surprise me, especially around, I mean, with everything going on, the lawsuit, and so many different people out there that just know who and what Owen Benjamin is and the different techniques and tactics that he uses. Uranium Penetrator, how are you doing? Doing morning, y'all. Good morning to you, Uranium Penetrator. Merry Christmas Eve. It is good to see you.
It's somewhat similar to it with a lot of masculine characters. And this one is like a film noir with broken, emasculated characters. And so they go on this adventure to drop off the money to the kidnappers because it was nihilists from a porno company and blah, blah, blah. It's just this fascinating adventure. And the nihilists, these Germans, keep threatening to castrate him. The whole movie has a lot of references to male castration. We cut off your Johnson. We care about nothing, Lebowski. Nothing. And then this, I wish I had the line, but one of the funniest lines in the movie is just such a throwaway line. Right here, Donnie just goes, "What do you need a Johnson for, dude?" Like he doesn't even understand why anyone would want a dick. There's a lot of language jokes. There's a lot of language innuendos, jokes.
Parody, absolutely. Can I share a funny parody of Toby Keith, Red, White, and Blue? For sure. I don't know if because this channel doesn't have a certain amount of subscribers, I don't know if links will pop up or will stay, but yeah, feel free to.
Synonyms. This is what I do like about Jew writing. Is the word mastery I do relate to and I enjoy, and that's what I enjoy about the Coen brothers. The Big Easy. Yeah, I think it might have been the Big Easy. And so then he talks about how the rug really tied the room together and it got urinated on and he needs a new rug. And so that starts the adventure. Broken emasculated human condition, cucked to the female. Nobody does that better than them. Yeah, yeah. And there is a lot of truth to it in society. Like they are telling the tale, because sometimes you think, oh, the Coen brothers are pre-programming people to be emasculated. No, I don't think so. I think they're telling a story where the hippie generation of free love from the 60s and 70s had a consequence. The consequence is feminism, because women surrounded by perverted men. This is what I was talking about on Friday with Vanilla Sky, where if you have sex with a woman and then you don't call her back and you treat her like shit.
Did he really do a video on breaking down Vanilla Sky with Tom Cruise and was it Cameron Diaz? That's insane. Especially for a family podcast. Or is he still trying to say that he's family friendly?
That response is going to be the woman becomes more Baphomet and the man becomes more Baphomet, where the woman becomes more masculine and the man becomes more feminine. Because the woman has to compensate for the lack of male strength in her life. And so the strong male in this movie is played by Sam Elliott. Hang on, my screen was looking weird for a second. How's it going? No, The Big Sleep. Thank you, Toronto Joubert. He's a nihilist. Must be exhausting. Yeah, it's great. And I remember the 90s. I remember the vibe of it. And it was very perverse, very nihilistic. The men were very feminized. I had longer hair. I get it. I'm not saying long hair is feminine. I get it. Some guys like that, but just whiny Pearl Jam and trying to have sex and life is meaningless and all this. If you don't lead your woman is going to take control. And in this movie, the people in control are women. But the reason I don't think the Coen brothers are trying to F with people and they're just trying to tell a story is because they show the weakness of the women too. Like one makes porn and the other is a ridiculous, over the top, elitist feminist.
But even in his own reality, in Owen's reality, that kind of doesn't make any sense because he uses his own weaknesses. Sometimes it's falsified weaknesses, but other times it's true and honest weaknesses. He can't control his own emotions. That's a weakness, especially for an adult, not being able to control your emotions. Well, he does that on the daily. And then he tries to use that as an excuse to say, hey, well, that's just me showing you how honest and true that I can be. I'm just being transparent. So the metric that he just used to say the Coen brothers aren't trying to F with people, I mean, he does the same thing, but he is obviously trying to F with people, trying to manipulate people.
Like, it's not like they're these like fake heroic women, but they are in control. And that's what happens when men become lazy. They don't work. They become emasculated. And it's just true. You know, it's, I don't see anything wrong with telling a true story, even if it's something you don't really want to hear. And then the Coen brothers also did No Country for Old Men, which is also about masculinity. Let me look up another one. They also did another one that was fascinating about, it was a really accurate look at the underbelly of Jewish culture. Coen brothers. What was that called, Toronto Jew Bear? The one about the big Jew messing with the little Jew? Yeah, the Coen brothers. Huh. Come on, IMDb. Let me just look up Big Lebowski. A Serious Man. Yeah, the villain in No Country is top level creepy evil. Yeah, he represents, you know, chaos and chance. No, they're masters, dude. They're absolute masters. And I know that it's super cool to think all Jews suck these days. And you know, I was hoping for that forever. I mean, I was waiting forever for that. And I just think you're really missing out on a lot if you disregard so much of the writing and the art. Oh, I should have downloaded the Louis C.K. bit about Jews. It's so accurate. It's so accurate about their actual weakness, just whiny, entitled, all that shit. Nails it. But they're not the root of all evil. I mean, that's just, oh, says the Jew. No, let's go through it. Yeah, Raising Arizona.
I was going to make a comment kind of like that. Whiny and entitled. That pretty much sums up Owen Benjamin.
Arizona, epic. Fargo, epic. Big Lebowski, Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? Bad Santa was funny. No Country for Old Men is epic. A Serious Man, True Grit. You know, I think True Grit's kind of making fun of boomers. Fargo, the TV series, they're epic storytellers. So anyway, moving on. Hey, Boer Bear. Raising Arizona is fantastic. Yeah, they understand the human nature. And I had a Muslim listener tell me that The Big Lebowski is loosely based on the story of Joseph in the Quran, but I don't know. I haven't read that story in the Quran. So I kind of know the story about brothers selling him into slavery and the jacket and all that stuff, but I haven't been able to break that down yet. I would like to. So Walter is unfazed by the behavior of psychopaths because he can spot them immediately, except for his ex-wife. So here is Lebowski getting very worked up. His emotions are affected, and Walter is not affected.
There was no. We didn't.
Jack Power. Merry Christmas and good morning, y'all. Merry Christmas to you, Jack. It's good to see you. Fraser, WTF, Owen hasn't done any constructive work, in quotations, even in his chosen profession in nearly 2 decades.
They're gonna kill that poor woman, man.
The fuck are you talking about? The poor woman, that poor slut kidnapped herself. Come on, dude, you said so yourself.
Man, I said I thought she kidnapped herself. You're the one who's so fucking certain.
That's right, dude. 100% certain.
Stay close to the next.
This journey and a series of unfortunate events open up everybody to learning. Donnie is the best person. The only good person in the entire movie is Donnie, who's kind of reminds me of Coddington a little bit. And Sam Elliott, that's why Sam Elliott at the end, who's this omnipotent masculine narrator, is like saying that he was bummed to see Donnie die, but another Lebowski's about to be born, and that's the way the world works. And I think there's some deep esoteric gravy in this movie. But anyway, so here's more hilarious Walter, unfazed by liars.
Walter, the fuck should I know? I do know that nothing about it indicates.
So the kidnappers sent a severed toe. And everybody's spiraling. That poor girl, that poor girl. And Walter reminds me a bit of how I am with like nuclear bombs or viruses or whatever. When you know something is bullshit, you just tell people like, who fucking cares? They're like, no, but my grandmother is sick and they could. And it's like, no, bullshit. And you can come across a little off and then you start spiraling about something else. But he's right. It wasn't her toe. It was all bullshit. But he's still not like behaving properly. Dies of heart failure. Yeah, and Donnie does die of heart failure. His heart attack starts before they fight the nihilists. I just want everyone to know that that Walter did not contribute to that. Coddington. It was happening before. Anyway.
Man, the nail polish, Walter.
Okay, so that's pretty strange. He just compared Donnie to Coddington. And if I'm hearing it correctly, I've got something else going on. But so Donnie has a heart attack, and he's saying that Walter didn't. This is another parallel. He is obviously comparing himself to Walter and probably Lebowski. But Donnie has a heart attack, and he said, I just want everybody to know that Walter didn't contribute to Donnie having a heart attack. And then he said that Coddington is pretty much Donnie. I don't know. That's just strange what he just said in the last 60 seconds. 33 minutes into it. Timestamp.
Fine, dude. As if it's impossible to get some nail polish, apply it to someone else's toe.
Where the fuck are they going
You
to
want
get?
a toe? I can get you a toe. Believe me. There are ways, dude. You don't want to know about it. Believe me.
Yeah, but Walter.
Hell, I can get you a toe by 3 o'clock this afternoon with nail polish. It's fucking amateurs.
Walter.
They sent us a toe. We're supposed to shit our.
They can accurately identify manipulation, how someone's trying to use them. But at the same time, he's crazy, right? It's like he's about to start ranting again about Vietnam. He's about to raise his voice, then lower his voice, then get people like, just because you on an instinctive level know something's up doesn't mean you know the right answer. It doesn't mean you can dictate exactly what to do. It's so funny.
And then they're going to kill me.
Dude.
My buddy's outfit died face down in the muck, and they ask him to leave, and he's like, I'm not leaving. He's like, and then the dude's like, Walter, it's not a First Amendment issue. And this is made in 1998. He's like, I'm not leaving. I'm enjoying my coffee. My buddy's died face down in the muck. So this is when he's confronting a youngster about where the money is. And again, he's accurately identified a psychopathic type guy, but he gets it all wrong, and the dude gets his car broken. And then I'll move on to the next guy.
You're entering a world.
Wants to talk about the globe. Says, catching up. I think it's important to point out that it all has to do with your standard of proof. For instance, I consider parallax to points in the sky proof, but I can understand someone rejecting that as proof, as Owen does. In my opinion, there are a lot of things that prove the globe, but I can't control or care really if anyone rejects those. Yeah, like we were talking about a way for him to prove the globe would be two guys talk about the moon, where it looks in the sky, hundreds of miles apart, and then they coordinate it, blah, blah, blah. The moon is an assumption that I'm not signing off on. And I know that can get frustrating. Like asking Walter to leave a coffee shop, and he won't, right? Because you just know we don't know, again, we don't know how far away the moon is or what it is. We don't know if it's a hologram. We don't know, blah, blah, blah. And that's when people get emotionally angry, because then nothing's real. Then everything's fake. Oh, no, that's not true at all. You can do a ton of measurements without having to go out on a limb and say, what else could it be? Like you hear that a lot with these proofs, quote unquote. Well, what else could it be? I'll tell you when I was very wrong. Hopefully this can help people identify that I'm not ego driven. I went on a rant about.
Hopefully this can help people identify that I'm not ego driven. He's going to use one instance where he was obviously wrong, and probably, I don't know what he's going to talk about, but it's probably in a circumstance to where so many people called him out that he had to admit that he was wrong. Parody mock, M-O-O-N spells moon. Right? I love that movie. The original one. The newer one isn't too bad either. I did enjoy that one, but I love the one with Gary Sinise.
How the amount of fuel in air
propaganda. We can't go to the moon or send them up there to check it out. Here comes the new grift.
Planes is fake. And the reason I felt so unbelievably confident about it is because of how much travel I've done at major airports and how many times I've seen a plane get refilled. And I went through all of it. And I showed how much fuel could fit on a truck. And I know from my experience what trucks go to what planes. I've seen 747s land from Japan, get filled up from a small truck, And then I've gotten on the plane and we've went from LA to New York City. Okay, I did not know that those are pump trucks and there's vast amounts of fuel underneath the airport. The minute, and you guys can sign off on this, you witnessed it. The minute I learned that, I immediately was like, oh, I didn't know that. Oh, that's it. Because listen, to me, it sounds crazy how much weight things, but I'm not going to sign off on that. I don't know. Tin Bender Bear fills up planes. Spoolbear used to fill up giant and all this shit. Some people that I trust tell me that you can fit a lot of fuel in wings and planes do use a lot of fuel, blah, blah, blah. I would never go that hard on a topic unless I thought there was a absolute smoking gun. And to me, the smoking gun revolved around the fact that I could not conceive of tons of fuel under airports. And the truck, like a pump truck with concrete, where they use a truck to pull a fluid or whatever out of something else. And I immediately was like, oh, I did not know that. I still call BS of the fuel being held in those wings. Sure, you can think it's BS or not BS, but I felt comfortable making that call with extreme enthusiasm and some righteousness because I made the mistake of not conceiving of another possibility. Because I knew for a fact that those trucks could not carry that much fuel. And I knew that that plane couldn't have more fuel because I've tracked them and it just landed from Japan. So according to their own schematics, it's impossible. So I was like, bang. Then it turned out it's possible. And now it still may be bullshit. I don't know, but I there's no way I'm even commenting on it. It's true. You called it back. I was there. I was wrong with you. Your integrity is unmatched and so appreciated. Yeah. And so I try to not make that mistake again. Like if you're doing the
way that he stops and reads just very specific, curated, I would say, comments. Your integrity is unmatched. The comment that he just read.
Equation, and it revolves around the knowledge of the distance of the sun and the size of the suns. Okay, so we know it's 93 million miles away, and it's a constant nuclear explosion in a vacuum. So that means it's this size. I'm like, I'm not signing off on any of that. Now, it could be. I'm not saying it's not. I'm just saying I can't say that's a given, because once you have givens, x equals 2, y equals 4, x plus y equals 6. Now, if you don't really know if that equals 2, then you can't do the equation. And that's all I'm saying. And that is absolutely a valid position. I'm not saying, everything's a dream. We're in Maya. We can't prove anything. Our eyes lie. No, I'm not saying that. You can empirically measure things. I'm saying that I'm not signing off on the moon being a certain thing at a certain distance, because that's required if you're doing right angles to see how far away something is. I want to measure the curve based on, and I don't want to get sidetracked, but I've come up with some ideas for experiments. And then I know that you have to factor in quote unquote refraction. I haven't even went into that yet, but I've devised some ideas for some curve. Like, for example, I can tell that a lot of these pictures being used by globe people are doctored. Like there's this 26-mile bridge that I've absolutely been on in Louisiana. I can't remember the name of the bridge, but it's 26 miles and it's almost the same height over the water the entire time. And you can see pictures, and I'm sure flat people doctor them too. Whenever there's ego involved, you're going to have manipulation, which I don't appreciate, but whatever it is. And one picture will make it look like it's curving and another will make it look like it's straight. And I've been on it. And
don't say, Owen. Whenever there's ego involved, there's manipulation. That's another that pretty much sums up Owen Benjamin's entire podcast. Ego and manipulation. And he says, well, I don't appreciate that. How rich is that?
And it doesn't, to me, from what I saw, it doesn't look like it's curving. Now that's not evidence. That's nothing. But I've come up with some ideas of how to track it. And I did go through the math of a 3,900 mile radius sphere and what the curve would be on water, and it is 8 inches per mile squared. So first mile would be 8, second 16, 32, 64, etc. And I could look into that stuff. If I don't know, I'm like interested in it, and I'm not trying to prove the globe wrong. I just want to know. That's it. Like, I am not one of these guys that's calling people globetards and saying that everyone's hiding God. Like, I just know what evidence is and what it is not, what emotions, like how narcissists act, what assumptions are. Like, I can just spot it. And I don't want to be like Walter and run my mouth with shit that isn't true. I can just, I do have the ability. I know my boundaries where I have the right to not accept givens. And if anybody doesn't respect that, I don't care. Like, I really don't. It's like, I don't accept that the moon is 240,000 miles away in a vacuum and it's reflected sunlight off a rock. It could be, but I'm not accepting that based on the evidence I've been given. Right? I know how to handle, like, I know how this all works. And so I would like to see evidence of a spin or evidence of curve. Now, people always use Sniper, Coriolis as evidence of a spin. It isn't there. It isn't. And Hickerson, me and him are texting, like, the equation of Coriolis would only have to do with latitude and direction. That's it. Like, if you can't zero your sights on a gun for Coriolis effect, no sniper ever uses it. It's factually not true. And I don't understand why my opinion bothers so many people, where it's like just me not signing off on theirs bothers them. It reminds me a lot of The Mask, where me not wearing a mask made mask people feel angry. I'm like, if the mask works, why does it matter? And then they say, well, you're spreading it and it's going to harm people. It's not. It's not. There's no example of that harming anyone. Like, there's nobody that could say, well, if people believe what you believe, it will harm someone. It's just not true. The commies used to say that about God, like where religion was the opiate of the masses, believing it is what takes away from productivity and it's what causes all injustice. It's just not true. Like, it's victimless. It's victimless. There is no victim in me not trusting a current model. And that's it. And so I get to like the Walter character gets really emotional and angry, and I don't. Like, I've learned how to just detach, but it's not, and I am ethical. I'm ethical in my approach. And so, like, parallax lines proving a globe, like, that doesn't prove a globe. Just doesn't, it's what proves a globe is a globe. What proves a spin is spin, right? It's an experiment you can do. And then people say, well, you can send up a weather balloon. People have done that, and without a fisheye lens, it looks flat. That's why Neil deGrasse Tyson was talking about how Felix Baumgartner or whatever, it looked flat from 100-something thousand feet. And he jumped off that, and it was like 2 hours of fall. It was like 6 minutes of fall and 2 hours. I can't remember all the details, and it was barely any difference on the ground. Imagine claiming Coriolis effect and then looking at Felix Baumgartner jumping from a height of, and again, I know that now the strategy would be like, oh, it was 108,000. Oh, it might be nice. Jew. Roughly low 100,000 feet in the air. It took him a long time to go up, get there, and then a long time to fall. I think it was in New Mexico. I can't remember exactly, but the point that he went up from and then where he landed was a few miles apart, but not even close to what it would be under the Coriolis effect. And this was a guy who was basically outside of the atmosphere. Yeah, the Red Bull jump in 2012. Yeah. All the proofs are based on assumptions that they already know. Yeah, exactly. It's called circular reasoning. He landed to the east. Yeah. He did land apart from where he started, but it was the other direction of where Coriolis would have predicted. Okay. Now, I don't know. I wasn't there, but maybe that was all fake. That's when that's when the globe starts sounding like the crazy conspiracy guy, right? Where it's like, oh, they must have, it's like, I don't know. I mean, that was a pretty official jump. It's in the world record. It was Red Bull. According to them, that's what happened. And so I'm not signing off on the Coriolis effect. Coriolis was actually a meteorologist, and he was using that to justify what wind was. And it's called pseudoscience, and it was literally debunked.
Johnny says, the people who trust you are the victims, Owen. Same people who trusted you would build a campground. Exactly. Owen having the opinions, nobody really cares whether he agrees with certain mainstream thoughts or ideas or whatever. What people care about is whenever he uses those in order to rope people in, trap people in, lure people in to take advantage of them. Give me your money during a worldwide pandemic. Give me your money and I'll give you a safe refuge, a place of refuge. And at the bare minimum, I promise two things. I won't keep your money if we don't hit our goal, and you'll be able to camp. And both of those things were lies, without a shadow of a doubt. It's provable.
But again, I'm not making any claims. I've learned my lesson, man, but I get it. People can be like, well, I've given you all the proof you could possibly need, so now you're the one denying it. I'm like, no. I mean, you've been shown. I'm like, no, I haven't. You know, like surveyors, land surveyors never factor in a curve. What they do on like they will have software that will then claim there's a curve. I can show you how it could be either. It can be either. I'm not in a camp. It could be a ball or flat based on all of these different things. Like you can represent the same exact topography on a ball or flat. And that's why they go nuts. That's why they'll be on Twitter for 6-8 hours straight arguing about it. And then someone's like, wow, you're on Twitter. It's literally my job. Engaging with people is my job versus somebody that's like a teacher.
Engaging with people is my job. Wow. Fraser says there's plenty of camping, in quotations, on stream, just not on Missouri Dust Bowl or up in Idaho. 100% correct, Fraser.
Teacher, I'm like, why are you arguing with a comedian about your job for hours and hours and hours? Do you feel a little insecure? Are you reacting from shame? Anyway, so back to the Big Lebowski. How about Steel to Mike Tyson's pair?
But that's another problem with Owen Benjamin. He's not just a comedian, just the same way that Jim Jones was not just a preacher. Charles Manson was not just a musician. Applewood was not just a teacher. Owen Benjamin is definitely not just a comedian. He is a dangerous, predatory cult leader.
Earth. Yeah, because there have been experiments that show you can see too far. Like the human eye can see 3 miles. When you zoom in, you can see blah, blah, blah. That's why you have to get into refraction and the pair, where now the claim is there's miles of water around the bulge of the center of the earth. That wasn't what Einstein said would happen with relativity, and it wasn't what I was told growing up, that it was more perfect than a billiard ball, and water always finds its level, and the center mass creates a perfect sphere in a gravitational field, which is the bending of space-time based on existence. So again, I can just go through the claims and say that claim, that claim, that claim. And so if I'm
Propaganda says, I have, and I'm completely confident that the government steals our money while they staff the government with dummies instead of engineers. And one of the most recent displays of that was the people that the Biden administration put into position. Who did he have over health? And what was the position that he put that one guy in that ended up stealing luggage at the airport? Propaganda, I do believe you're 100% correct with that.
required to have assumptions that I don't sign off on, I get to reject that. I get to say, I don't believe that. because it doesn't harm anyone. And I'm not pushing a model that isn't true. I'm not pushing any model, and I haven't for a very long time. And you guys know that. And you guys can.
Yeah, the model that he's pushing, that Owen Benjamin pushes that isn't true, is his business model. Give him money and he'll it helps the community of bears. What, you get one camping week or whatever. You show up and you camp and do free labor. I mean, it's obvious.
You know, bear witness to the fact that I've learned a lot of lessons over the years about false binaries and like trying to make a claim of something I can't know and all that stuff. And I've worked on it. I don't want to be like Walter Sapoznik. The only scope that would work with Coriolis is one that adjusts for you. Otherwise, it would take forever to make the shot on a stationary object. If one of the bears is an aero engineer, maybe he could verify the lift capacity, the airfoils, and the thrust of the engine. Yeah, and that's a whole different argument. I'm not arguing that planes can't carry a lot of weight because I have no idea. What I did know is how much a tanker can carry, and I've witnessed so many planes getting fueled, and I had hubris, and I was wrong, that I didn't know enough. I didn't know about underground reservoirs, and I hope you guys know deep down, like, you know, the minute I learn about something I didn't know before, I will tell you, like, and I have no ego with being wrong at all. None, but I can spot bullshit just like Walter can, but he still makes a lot of mistakes. So here's Walter trying to, he's like the conspiracy theorist, and he figured out based on evidence where the dude's car was, and he makes a horrible call here.
All right, this is pointless.
Traffic stop. And I do kind of get it. Like sometimes I'm like, who fucking cares? Like, I don't want to be the guy that spirals the profane. Okay, let me just read a post I did real quick, and then I'll get back into it, because I do struggle with this. I do actually get why someone's just like, just sign off on it. It's like people go nuts. It's just not in my nature. That's why I like to, I don't mind having my little corner of the internet. So I played the clip of Weinstein on Rogan saying that I'm a genius who went down a dark path. And I said, Weinstein is referring to me going against mass and telling people about moon landing, etc., questioning Earth's shape. That's the dark path. He was wrong about my life being a dark path. It's gotten better and better. But in some ways, he was right. Watching all these pagan or Nazi LARPers call me a Jew and dumb and insane for questioning the moon landing did something interesting for me. It made me really respect Jews again. You know, like their ability to control people's minds. Like, honestly, I do see it. Like Prometheus. And yes, I'm about to compare myself to Prometheus, but in a cautionary way. I'm not saying it's good to be Promethean. It's actually bad. I attempted to give the huddled animals some knowledge because I thought I could help. No, they chose to live like that, drinking each other's cum and liquor until they pass out drunk and gay, night after night. And by the way, if you don't read that as comedic and fun,
the comedian himself read that, and it wasn't comedic and funny. I will give him props. It did take him just shy of an hour to say something so grotesquely perverted and homosexual. Oh my.
Funny, like, you're crazy. Like, this is such a funny line.
See, how ridiculous is that concept? For him to say something, I think 9 out of 10 people would say that that was gross, what he just said, and unnecessary. There was a thought there that he could have communicated without being that disgusting. And then immediately saying, well, if you don't think that that's funny, if you didn't read that as hilarious, then you're crazy. It's like, we didn't read it. We heard the comedian himself say it, and it still wasn't funny.
Like Prometheus, I attempted to give the huddled animals some knowledge because I thought I could help them. Nah, they chose to live like that. Just drinking each other's cum and liquor until they pass out drunk and gay, night after night.
I did not rewind that. That he literally did I did say literally. He did read that twice. He had to. It did take him almost an hour to get there, which usually maybe 10 minutes.
And the stress it causes is what the birds eating out the liver of Prometheus, I think, means metaphorically. It's why Prometheus is a cautionary tale. The dude made a bad call. Once I realized the animalistic nature of the profane, and that it's a choice, I lost 60 pounds and I feel great. I was stressing myself out so much because I thought I had to be funnier or explain it better. And there was a self-righteousness in my quest to share with the herd the knowledge of the farmer. Looking back, parts of it were very foolish. Now I watch Nazis and pagans claim that I'm a dirty old Jew for trying to take the greatest achievement of the white race, the moon landing, from them. Well, I now see why Rome just let them paint their asses blue and took tribute in exchange for feeding them slop. There's no reasoning with monkeys. All they know is poop, cum, and screaming. I know what I'm saying sounds harsh, but it's not. The sooner people realize that there really are people attempting to walk a path and people who have chosen to think and live like animals, the better. People have to choose to help themselves. You got to rise out of the slime. And that doesn't mean believe in one specific thing or not in another thing. Rising out of the slime doesn't mean that you don't believe the moon landing. It means you attempt to figure it out yourself with higher thought and higher logic. That's the fire attempted to give to the profane. The Jews are legit masters at managing the deep state, fallen state, low state, whatever you want to call it. I think Weinstein was saying here that I was taking a dark path by trying to give fire knowledge, and it was just going to burn them and me. Boy, was he right. Like, no one freaks out more about questioning the moon landing or the shape of the earth than the highest billionaire Jew class. And to see all of these like pagan Nazi guys be like, you're a Jew. I'm like, I get it. And I don't even think the billionaire Jew class thinks I'm going to change anything. They're like, you're going to upset the slaves. And they're fucking right. Like, they're right. Because it's not like, here's the knowledge, we didn't go to the moon. It's like, you get to think for yourself. And they're like, come fighting. And I'm like, oh, that's why I'm not a truther on a mission now. I'm not like, oh, we got to wake people up. No, the fuck we don't. Waking them up is like waking someone up when they're black.
He's not a truther on a mission now because the truther community expelled him. I don't know if there's anybody in the truther community that is respected in the truther community that still entertains Owen Benjamin. He has shown himself to be who he is, which is a lying, manipulative, narcissistic cult leader. And almost everyone in any of these communities understand that.
Out drunk. You ever try to wake up a drunk person? They don't wake up. They're drunk. Like, you can be like, wake up. And they're like, like, it's not waking up. And so the Jews would look at me and be like, bro, stop trying to teach this shit to them. They're going to go fucking ape shit like monkeys. And I'm like, no, they're good. They're good. You don't know them. They're going to be really reasonable. And they're going to like use their ability to discern themselves to have like small businesses and take care of their families. No, I mean, some do, but those people want it. And so that's why I'm all about just having people come to this community and we just have a great time. It's not about me, because I wasn't trying to get famous or rich. I was genuinely trying to help people. And I'm like, if people knew about APAC, if people knew.
When in the timeline of Owen Benjamin, when has there ever been a moment of him not trying to get rich and famous and instead actively trying to help people? I cannot honestly think of one in one moment, not even one, where he was just simply trying to help people. And the biggest example of that is he could have helped people during the pandemic of 2020, but instead he was trying to get rich and famous.
And no, it's like They want heroin. It's like the Sackler family. Oh, they said, no, people want something for nothing and they'll tell themselves a story to fucking get it. No problem.
And one of the things that he does, and you can see it in this, is that he uses nuggets of truth and universal truths in order to rope people into his own perverted gospel. People do, on a large scale, they want their comfort blanket. That's what they want. A lot of people, they don't want to push the narrative. They don't want to question the narrative. They just want to live a simple life of getting up, going to work, family, friends. That's the majority of what everybody wants. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that whatsoever. What he has done, though, is he gets people to question certain things, disrupts their life, and then he tries to replace that with the bear community, with the cult.
I'm totally at peace with it. I'm a very happy guy. Anyway, moving on. That's why here's some things to say to a narcissist who's trying to gaslight you, because I know this probably happens to you guys a lot. If someone is like saying that something did not happen, that factually did happen, just say, that's what I heard. Like, just chill. Don't be like, no, it happened. You're a liar, Darnell. You know, if you have somebody right to your face saying, I did not say that, don't be like, hey, you did, you're fucking with my reality. No. Don't be like Walter in this movie. Just go, that's what I heard. Here's another one. If someone goes, you help, go, I could use someone who's helpful. Everybody needs something helpful. Because the thing that happens to the empath is they can be really scared when someone says, you need help. Like, oh, they're going to put me in a loony bin. Or like, oh, like you're going to send, and they do try and use the institutions against you, but don't get scared and act crazy. It only reaffirms the original claim. Just agree. Be like, yeah, I could use someone who's helpful. Yeah, everybody does. And then they're like, no, I mean like arrest you. And you're like, whoa. Yeah. No, I just need someone who's helpful. And then just slowly start backing away. I'll show you. The dude does it perfectly. And then if someone's like, oh, you made that up, just be like, I tend not to imagine facts, but that's a little aggressive. You don't need to do that. But another thing is you can say, I understand that you don't, that you disagree with me. Like, let's agree to disagree. It just sounds strange to me, but be like, no, I get it. Like, you disagree with me. That's okay. Because the empath trying to change the narcissist is being narcissistic. You see, it's a loop. You're touching. You're not better than them. So if you need them to change, being narcissistic. So if you have an ability of being like, yeah, no, I don't agree. That's okay. But see, from my experience, that's when they're like, no, you're like a pedophile. I don't believe in. They literally will say shit like that and just be like,
They literally
whoa.
will say stuff like that. Because the guy he actually does say stuff like that. Not as much as he used to, but he definitely used to call people that disagreed with him pedos and whatnot. Michael Sean, how are you doing? From East Texas. Good to see you, Michael. Merry Christmas Eve to you. Hopefully your morning is going well. It is 6:53 a.m. here in Texas. Parody Mike from Cincinnati. Good to see you, Parody Mike. I know you've been here for a minute. Just want to say hi. Cincinnati. Johnny Arcade, like you did about Jim Bob. Right. William Poole Owen is so effing boring. He is, and one of the only reasons why I do find him, whenever I do find him slightly interesting, is because he is an active cult leader, and very rarely do you ever see you get to be a fly on the wall and watch cult leaders do what they do.
And just be like, yeah, I just see things differently, man. It's cool. Oh, you see things like a fucking moron. You need help. well, you know, I could use someone who's helpful. Teach me, man. What am I not seeing? And then just let him go on a long rant about, no offense, CCOM, I'm not singling you out, but just like parallax lines or, you know, just going on and on about snipers and the moon landing, or like how they put the go-kart in the rocket, or like how they smuggled the golf ball, like, you know, like on and on about the upside down umbrella and how it sent the signal to Houston and all that. Just let them talk. They just want to feel heard. And just be like, yeah, cool, man. And then they're like, and just be like, hey, thanks for trying to explain that to me. And then they can be like, well, so do you agree? Be like, no, we just see things differently, man. It's like, oh, what is wrong with you? And then once they start going nuts.
Michael says, first time on your channel. Well, I appreciate you stopping by and commenting. This is, I'm going to try to make this one my main channel. I've got a different channel that I've covered extensively, Owen Benjamin, but I haven't live streamed in a minute, and the other channel's got some problems being, I'm not going to get into it, but yeah, certain people have certain problems with that channel right now, but it's good to see you. This channel, I'm going to be doing more than just covering Owen Benjamin. I'm actually working on I'm going to be diving in a little deep into, what's his name? Ron Upchurch. There's some stuff going on with him, and he's a country western comedian type thing. But anyways,
that's when people witness it. That's when they start, their ego takes over, and now you're the sane one. You see how easy this is? Just let them talk. And then just be like, you know, I gotta get out of here, but thanks for like showing me your point of view. Because you don't never lie, but you can be like, hey man, thanks for showing me your point of view. You know, maybe that tilt up. I see how you think that like the tilt up was a remote control from 240,000 miles away. The first time they tried it in a vacuum, but no, that sounds like you're being
William Poole, I know I enjoy your streams, but sometimes it's tough because Owen just babbles and says the same bullshit and nonstop projects. I like Liz and Covert too, but he definitely gets grating and monotonous. That is 100% accurate. Grating and monotonous is a very good description of Owen. Hunter says, welcome, Michael, Sean. Merry Christmas. Joni Arcade, you should check out the Love Has Won cult. Is that the name of it? The Love Has Won? Love Has Won. Johnny, I've got that written down. I appreciate that.
the deck. Be like, no, I get it. That's one way of looking at it. Oh, but it's a fact. Be like, man, facts are like a really tough thing to claim. I try to be pretty careful.
Parody Mike says, I've known Ron Upchurch since Little Larry on Facebook 2009. William Poole, Upchurch is pretty talented, in my opinion. Don't know the dirt. Yeah, I find him to be talented. I enjoy his music. But it seems as though the only time he ever comes across my Facebook, or not my Facebook, my YouTube algorithm is whenever he's beefing with other artists, or there's definitely something going on, especially over the last, I think, like 6 months. And I just haven't had time to look into it. But I agree, he is talented. I like his music.
About facts, but you know, could have happened. You're like, oh, you fuck. And then when they say stuff like a flat earther's worse than a pedophile, you could be like, whoa. Glad this guy doesn't have any kids, right? Because what they're saying, but make it chill. Like, you are not affected whatsoever by how they view you. Okay, moving on. So this is when the empath makes a fool of himself and does property damage.
Son, this is what happens when you fuck a stranger in the ass. Language problem here.
Don't ever do property damage. Don't get angry, right? Don't take it personally.
Stonewalling me.
Walter.
Like, see, this is psychotic. Like, he should go to jail for this. But you see, his motivation is to establish a repercussion for violating property rights. But he's just wild. He's just being crazy. But that's his motivation. Now we're about to break down what the motivation of the Big Lebowski is.
What happens? This is what happens when you fuck a stranger in the ass, Larry. Larry, you see what happens, Larry? You see what happens, Larry, when you fuck a stranger?
Here is Walter again. He's right about the kidnapping being false, and he has a plan, and he's a man of action, and he's not a liar and all that, but he completely ruins it. Okay, like complete psycho. Watch this. This is when I could see the human soul. It's like, bro, enough. Let it go. I love this character, Walter. Oh, it's hysterical.
Throw the bag from the left window of the moving
nihilist.
car. You're being watched.
Bear said, I love this movie. Walter's great. Yeah, you got to watch from the beginning of the breakdown. Walter is the bad side of the empathic codependent, and the Big Lebowski is the narcissist. But Walter, he bats 1,000, but he's constantly fucking everything up, and he's horrible at boundaries. Like, he lets people walk all over him, and then he way over establishes lines in the sand about shit that doesn't really matter, but to him, the rules are very important.
What do you say? Where's the handoff?
There is no fucking handoff.
Their behavior, the narcissistic reaction to you having a different opinion, is objectively bad behavior. But it doesn't mean you're right. This is the problem with Walter. Walter can identify people that are full of shit throughout the entire movie. He calls it the entire time. But the response is not valid, right? And also, if someone's just behaving badly and full of shit, it doesn't mean you're right, because you don't know everyone's agenda. And you also can have to be able to be objective and say, no, man, you understand that more than I do. Like, especially sometimes people, like, I knew brain surgeons that took the COVID vaccine with like terror in their eyes. Highly specialized people can sometimes be the easiest dupes, and it's impossible to explain it to them because a lot of times they have so much ego associated with their speciality. Like, they're the brain surgeon. They know about medicine. No, they know about their type of brain surgery. Someone like me understands narcissistic spellcraft a lot more than a brain surgeon, but I know way less about biology or, the daily life of a doctor or something. So people in the field can be the most duped. Now, don't get me wrong, I would go to the brain surgeon if I needed brain surgery because they know that really well. Being an expert doesn't mean you're wrong. That overcompensation of the truther sometimes is nuts, but it doesn't mean you're right, especially when your expertise is not actually what I'm talking about, which is manipulation on a grand scale. Walter gets it.
Out of the movie.
Walter gets it. Manipulation on a grand scale. This is a pretty decent example of what Owen Benjamin does, because he's telling his audience who he is through giving praise and worship to Walter. And he just said that he is an expert in spellcraft and whatever. He said, I don't know if he mentioned rhetoric, but that's one of the things that he does, is he manipulates through spellcraft and just manipulation. I think this is a pretty good example of, it sums up pretty much exactly what Owen Benjamin has done over the last 7 to 10 years, I would say. Johnny knows a guy, right? He knows a brain surgeon, and he evidently saw him get the vaccination with fear in his eyes. William Poole, have you followed all the military influencers getting caught with stolen valor and just made up bull? It came up in my feed and I watched a bunch of them. Pretty interesting. Rob O'Neill is a liar. For example, I've seen a little bit of that, and there's one in particular who was getting blown up on social media. He had been on, I'm pretty sure he'd been on Joe Rogan, his podcast. He just came out with a book and lied about a whole lot of stuff, which blows my mind. To be relatively popular for the work that he did, and I can't remember his name, If I heard it, I'd be able to tell you it. But he wrote a book and used stories from everybody else, from a lot of other people, and passed it off as his own. And people obviously read it and were like, "Dude, I served with the guy that you stole his story from."
Car.
No, we can't do that, dude. That fucks up our plan.
Well, call him up and explain it.
Didn't Walter pull his gun to enforce Boeing rules? Yeah, I went over all that. After he showed that he was watching his ex-wife's Pomeranian.
Vegas and Bama, good to see you. Tim Kennedy, yes, that's exactly who I was talking about. Merry Christmas Eve, Vegas and Bama. I appreciate that.
Because she was on a vacation with her boyfriend. Because that's the problem with some types of empathetic people, is with someone close to them, they let them walk all over them. They don't see it. They're like, they feel what they feel, all that. But outside their close circle, they can spot a bullshitter a mile away, and they will enforce the rules like a psycho.
Walter, your plan is so fucking simple and you don't fucking understand.
Hey, he's rolling.
Hey, Walter! Hey,
What the hell?
It's a nihilist con. So funny. Yeah, and I mean, I'm going to get into the esoterics a little bit. I mean, the Uzi. And
William Poole says, "It is wild that a narcissist cannot comprehend that they are the narcissist. Almost complete detachment." And see, that is interesting. And I keep going back and forth with Owen, because the way that he describes William, I almost cannot fathom that he can't make the connection between him and William. And in fact, I'm pretty sure that he's actually said that he does show some characteristics of William, or I'm not too sure. I don't know. I think that Owen probably does. I mean, he would have to know, right? With how much how often he's done this and talks about it. Because I don't think that it's an accident that he kind of he gives praise to William. And I think the reason why he does that is because it's like a humble brag. He's actually giving praise to himself.
His Jewish stuff. I mean, the Uzi was invented by the Israelis. You don't think there's shit in here? I mean, their Boeing name is Medina Saad. Oh, you're seeing things. Oh, the check was written on 9/11/1991 for 69 cents. We'll get into that. Okay. Here is another hilarious. The fight when Donnie dies. So Donnie, Walter, unlike the narcissist, should I go back and forth with Big Lebowski to show the difference? No, I'll do one at a time. I'll just analyze one completely. Walter's genuine, and he has courage, but he's nuts, and he's paranoid. And so, and he knows these people are full of shit, but so he fights denial.
Donnie, right. He's justifying his actions by praising the character. Right. And one thing that I've noticed throughout this live stream is that I don't know if I've ever heard him give genuine praise to another living person as much as he does to a fictitious character whenever it's an obvious comparison to himself. Now, he will obviously love bomb people the way that he loved bomb Curtis Stone and everyone. Jim Bob, Steven Crowder, every single person that he's ever used and abused. He love bombs them first, and then he milks them for all they're worth, and then they're a PDF.
And Donnie has a heart attack and dies. But the heart attack started in the bowling lane. Donnie, one of his pins doesn't go down. Donnie sees that as a sign. It's foreboding. He starts getting a tingle in his arm in the bowling alley. And then he has a heart attack and dies. And there's an argument that Donnie is the one truly good person in the entire movie. And it's Coddington.
You killed my fucking car.
We want some money, lovebirds.
Nihilist, there's nothing to be afraid of.
He's like, because Nazis, he's like, say what you will about the tenets of National Socialism. At least it's an ethos. He's like, nihilists are cowards. So fucking funny. And what was I going to say? Oh, yeah. So Walter's been right the entire time. And I see this a lot with truthers and normies, where you can just be like, they're liars. There's no news.
Truthers and normies. William Poole, not positive. I think he knows the truth deep down, but it's too painful to deal with, so he creates this false self to deal with it. Owen definitely is unique. He is a top-tier nut. Michael, never heard of Owen B. Guess I'm out of the loop. Well, and that's the thing. The majority of people have never heard of him. I don't know one person in my own personal life that has ever heard of Owen Benjamin. Not one. I listened to him back in the late 2010s. Well, 2010s, whenever he was actively doing stand-up comedy. But he's a dangerous predatory cult leader. He did a whole lot of really nasty stuff during the pandemic, as far as taking people's money. Nicholas, how are you doing? Good to see you. Good morning, text and chat. Merry Christmas Eve, Nicholas. It's always good to see you, sir. Hopefully your Tuesday is going well so far. It's 7:11 a.m. in Texas at the moment. William Poole, he cannot take real personal responsibility and feel it and accept it. Too painful to his ego. He then makes himself into the victim and justifies all the evil he does because they deserve it in his eyes. Right. Yeah. I mean, that's pretty much, if you go check out the Milker Nation 10-hour documentary over on Rumble, there are moments where he says that he agrees with, the guy that did the Ponzi scheme. He said that he detested his victims because they were stupid enough to fall for it. And that's Owen's mentality. If you're stupid enough to fall for his tactics, his manipulative tactics, then it's your fault. That's why he constantly blames the victim, while continuously saying that there's no such thing as being a victim, while proclaiming that he is a victim. It's really crazy.
There's no virus. Just fucking move on with your life. And they're going totally apeshit. And they're right. But at the same time, just being right about manipulation doesn't mean you're not causing tremendous harm to people around you because you think you're better than people. I did a post about that, about why religion, I think, is so important for empaths and narcissists. And again, empath is not the good guy. Walter's so confident. Yeah, I think empathetic truther types battle with a different form of narcissism. It's they start thinking they're better than everybody. Because, and you guys see it all the time, like, oh, the sheeple, like me doing the profane thing, I was being pretty funny about it. You know, like there was a lot of humor in that. I don't actually look down at the masses, but when people do choose to live that way, you really do have to detach. But a lot of creative types, empathetic types, manifester types.
Michael says more coffee. I don't drink coffee all that often, but I'm as soon as I saw you say that, I think I'm actually going to partake in some coffee this morning. Parody, Field of Dreams. If you build it, they will come. If you build it, he will come. Dennis, I'm always glad to see Texas Goat. I'm always glad to see you. Merry Christmas Eve. Tomorrow is Christmas, depending on where you live. Dennis, it's always good to see you. Hopefully your Tuesday is going well. And hopefully your Christmas has gone the best that it could go. Nicholas, he makes these types of people, they feel like special boys who know more than the average normie. Right. Michael, he is not part of the masses. No, he's not. No, he's part of he is part of the few, though. Not many people could honestly be called a dangerous predatorial cult leader. And he's one of those. The same way that I was going to say Michael Myers, the same way that Charles Manson wasn't just a musician, Owen Benjamin is not just a comedian. And arguably, I could understand people saying that he's not a comedian. Johnny, how many times has he excused his breakups by claiming he's an extreme empath? Empath. Almost every single one of them, I would say. Hunter, it was always, if you build it, he will come. Talking about that one. Nimmer, Jim Bob, for sure. Right. Parody says Nimmer got cancer, right? Not from what I understand. Parody. That was one of the lies, the many lies. Just as though he lied about his military service.
Truther types. The fact you can see something other people don't see, sometimes you start thinking that you are better than them, or you have some divine connection that others don't have. And then you're fucked because it's not true. Right.
Okay, so that's interesting. This is going to be the first time, an hour and 13 minutes in, I'm all right with that. This is going to be the first time I'm going to rewind this, because what he just said is very important, because he constantly does this. If you look at cult leaders, one of the things that they have to do is they have to present themselves as somebody that's special. They've got something that nobody else has, and you have to go to them for that one thing or a few things.
Right. Many times, like, the normie type can live a better life. Like, I know quote unquote normies that have way better lives than a lot of truthers I know that asked, base tubers. Yeah. It's Icarus, you fly too close to the sun and you're right. Many times, like, the normie type can live people don't see. Sometimes you start thinking that you are better than them, or you have some divine connection that others don't have. And then you're fucked because it's not true.
Okay, notice he's talking about, he's saying that as though it's somebody else, that he's talking about somebody else. But Owen Benjamin has most definitely done that. He says that he's a prophet. He bats 1,000. Now, there's times whenever that pride and ego kind of dip a little bit, because it has to, in order for the fake reality of his echo chamber to maintain any kind of believability. But he does. He believes that he is a special boy. He has something that nobody else has. He has to. That's what cult leaders do. Larry, how are you doing? Good morning. It is good to see you, Larry. Hopefully you're having a beautiful Christmas Eve morning. It's always good to see you, Larry.
Right. Many times, like, the normie type can live a better life. Like, I know quote unquote normies that have way better lives than a lot of truthers I know that asked, base tubers. Yeah. It's Icarus, you fly too close to the sun and your glue melts and you fall to the earth. There's like real mental problems when you start thinking that you are, that's why, like, I really like Christianity's rejection of false prophets. If a guy tells me that they're a prophet, I'm not engaging. I mean, I'm not going to necessarily think they're like a bad person. I'm not going to like burn them or, I'm not like that type of.
Okay, so this is pretty bizarre. He has literally told his audience, his cult members, that he is a prophet. But this is one of the tactics that he uses. Constantly rewriting history, constantly trying to paint himself another mask.
Big guy. But when it's I'm the only one who's been given the truth that's coming, and I'm like, bro, get off the ledge, bro. It's like the narcissist. It's like, if I don't control and kill everyone, I will be ruined. Right? It's like, dude, pull back. Just be like a general manager at Nordstrom's. That's the type of narcissism we're looking for. Just like empath truther guy. It's like, just suggest what might be coming down the road kind of point out when someone may be full of shit, but the minute you're starting to claim divine prophecy and shit, you're fucked, because your ego is going to feel pain when you're wrong, which you will be wrong. And then it just goes and goes and goes. That's my opinion. So anyway, they're now fighting the nihilists.
We don't care.
You see, he's insisting on the accurate definition of words. Very comfortable with conflict. Poor Donnie does hit the deck, though.
She thought we'd been getting $1 million.
It's not fair.
Or Nazis or Catholics or whoever is like the special boy, right? Aren't you white? It's so funny. And Walter, when you're this extreme, you're gonna confront the nihilistic narcissist porno guy who wants to chop off your dick and damage.
Oh my. Oh my. He just can't help himself. Larry, thank you, TGRS. I am taking it all one step at a time, one note at a time, my friend. Happy Christmas Eve to you too. Thank you, Larry.
Can occur. It's much better if you just, like in this situation, I would have just paid the nihilists. Although I do relate to Walter, and he's an extreme version of some of the things I battle. I mean, he's making just a series of horrible calls. My recommendation in this scenario, just give them the money. Like just little bits of money and let it go.
So cool at Walter. Hey, look, pal, there never was any money. The Big Lebowski gave me an empty brief.
William says, Owen always confessing. Right. And this is one of the, from what I understand, Luciferian tactic. You have to tell them what you're doing, at least to a certain extent. That way they have to agree to be your victim. And that way you wash yourself of any kind of karmic backsplash. And that's one of the things that Owen most definitely does. He tells his audience, if you actively listen to Owen, he tells you how much of a trash human being that he is. And so whenever people agree to go with it and then eventually take off the bear goggles and realize that they've been duped, that's one of the reasons why he doesn't, I guess, feel shame or feel as though that something bad might happen to him. He might have some repercussions, is because he was open and honest, at least to a certain point. Chad Moorhead, good morning. Long time no see. Good morning and Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas, Chad. It's good to see you. Hopefully your Christmas is going the best that it can. Baron Strawberry, just checking in. Walter is the most narcissistic character in that movie. Am I right that he's drawn a parallel between himself and Walter? That's fucking hilarious. Happy Christmas. It's always good to see you, Baron. And yeah. Yep, drawing the parallels between Walter and Owen. He's actually giving Walter praise. And it's insane, actually. Baron, it's good to see you, man.
Okay, so take it up with him, man.
And I would like my undies, babe.
This guy's gonna hurt us, Walter?
No, Donnie. These men are cowards.
Okay.
I got 4.
The characters are so rich. The characters are so rich. It can come across as snooty. Like a whole theme is synonyms. Like some people don't like to hear vagina. You know, it's like, and then they'll refer to, I'll explain that when I go to mod. And I get how that can be annoying. Jew stuff can be annoying. I find Seinfeld extremely annoying. I can't stand Seinfeld, but I like this type of verbal mastery.
I got $18.
What's mine is mine.
We fuck you up, man. We takes the money.
Come and get it.
Steve, very comfortable in life-threatening situations. Yeah. Trauma, right? Sometimes trauma can open up your ability to see through other people's eyes. And it can also make you, it can encourage you to have emotional swings that don't make a lot of sense.
We fuck you up.
Show me what you got, nihilist.
I fuck you.
Walter, come on, he's got a sword thing,
Fucking
man.
shit with a 9-toed woman.
I fuck you. Fuck you. I fuck you. I stick.
That's his hero.
Take it easy, man. Hit the $4.
I fuck you in the ass! I fuck you!
There's
We got a man down, dude.
Don't need it. We're scattering the ashes.
Yes. So we were.
$180.
because now what Walter is registering is he's not being narcissistic. He's registering that he thinks someone's manipulating him because he's sad, because he is sad. And these are Donnie's family. It's like Donnie's family, all the people that care about Donnie in the entire world. And Walter does care about Donnie a lot. The next scene you will see, but it's comedic. And so he identifies this guy as manipulating him based on his bereavement. He's now yelling and then immediately calms down.
Lower your voices.
Man, don't you have...
They get a Folgers can, and then this is a major scene here. This is the eulogy for the sweet, sweet prince, Donnie, the sweet boy. All right, here we go. And this is when you see what is the deep motivator of Walter. And these are the same guys that created the No Country.
Does he have a new light setup? I can't help but notice that there's way more glare on his brow than there used to be. The window's back here, so that doesn't make any sense.
For old men, bad guy, like the scariest bad guy in history because he's pure chaos. And so to create Walter, the character, you have to come from a real place. And when he bows his head at the end and is apologizing like a child, that's when you see it.
Fuller. And
I didn't catch that, Johnny. Johnny says he whispered vagina. I assume you're talking about Owen. That's interesting. And the reason why I caught that comment is because Nicholas says he's literally in a separate house away from everyone. He didn't whisper earlier whenever he was talking about drinking semen. He almost yelled it. So that's kind of interesting. That's an interesting insight into what Owen thinks is shameful.
good man. He was one of us.
Nicholas says he's got new lighting to hide that nose wart. Huh. It's strange. Look at that. Just on his brow. So that tells me that those lights have to be up here. I mean, obviously, behind the camera. That's crazy.
He was a man who loved the outdoors and bowling. And as a surfer, he explored the beaches of Southern California from La Jolla. Took so many bright, flowering young. And so, Theodore Donald care about us in accordance with what we think. Good night, sweet prince.
They love Donnie. They're like his only family. They're like spreading his ashes where he thinks that he would like it to be, but watch this.
With you, man.
This is Walter again, accurately identifying a.
So I got up to make some coffee just a second ago, but he's actively just watching the movie at this point. Nate B, losers. Good to see you, Nate B. Merry Christmas Eve to you.
Accurately identifying a fraud. Oh, Jesus, where is it? But he's wrong and embarrasses everybody.
Get out, both of you.
Look at that fucking phony dude pretending to be a fucking millionaire.
Out of this house now. Bummer.
I'm never been more certain anything about
Through the eyes of, like, I don't think the dude has any pathologies really in this movie. He doesn't seem to try much, but he's a genuine guy, and what he doesn't flip out. I don't want to say that.
Aaron says, okay, I'm out Christmas Eve, people expecting movies and stuff for sure. For sure. I just happened to wake
It's
up
like a
early. It was like
negative thing.
4:30 whenever I
positive.
got up. Everybody's still sleeping right now. But as always, Baron, it's good to see you.
Compliment I'm actually giving Woody, but and then Philip Seymour Hoffman's character is like the minion of the narcissist, of the devil.
Children. They're the little Lebowski urban achievers, inner city children of promise, but without the necessary means for a necessary.
And off. It's there's nothing in the bag there. You know, you saw the Walter stuff. I'm out of order here. I'm just doing the characters, and I can skip a few more Lebowski scenes. That's the problem with narcissistic characters is they're very shallow. It doesn't, you get it, and I don't have to keep hitting it. Like there's the cry scene, Lebowski in the car. You guys get it. Let's get to Maud. Maud is fascinating. So this scene opens with her on a like a pulley, naked, like throwing paint on a canvas that looks like a vagina. I will save you the images, but that's what just happened. So this is the daughter of Mr. Lebowski, and this is why you know them by their fruits, because the fraudulent, narcissistic, schemy scammer types either don't have kids, or when they do, especially the daughters don't respect them at all. And this is when feminism took over. This is on a macro scale, the Baphomet. So the little girl that becomes the woman who has a fraud father that's a narcissist starts developing masculine traits, self-protection. Right? And that's where it comes from. That's why blaming the woman is cucking in a very interesting way.
Has been commended as being strongly vaginal.
Always what's the standard? Because you can call a guy a dick, dickhead, cocky. Someone's being cocky. Oh, is she being vagina-y? What does that mean? Cunty. Oh, how dare you associate the woman genitalia with the behavior? What, am I being a dickhead? You see, those are the type of conversations you have with high-level artistic Jews that I actually relate to. It's the war Jews and the sodomy Jews that really drive me nuts. And so remember that little dialogue of the vagina. And this whole movie is filled with references to genitalia. There is some of the names in them. I wrote some of them down.
Oh, pretty close to your own live stream there, bud. So many references to genitalia. He proclaims from the rooftop talking about drinking a certain fluid, but then whispers the word vagina. Larry says, The Big Lebowski is one of my favorite movies. It's a good movie. I haven't watched it in a long time, but I enjoyed it. I've probably watched it more than a few times. Larry says, Matthew 7:16, by their fruits ye shall know them. Parody Mike asks, Larry, do you remember Lion and the Lamb? Or Lion and Lamb? Nicholas, homoeroticism is always good gravy for Owen. He never steers too far away from homoeroticism. It's always right there.
What is it? Fawn Cuntison. There's a guy named Kunstler. When Bunny's car crashes, her license plate says Lapine, which is a castrated male bunny. So there's a lot of that. There's a lot of castration references in this movie, and I think it's about the various males that have given up their masculinity by not being grateful, not taking accountability. Because Walter's character is not taking accountability. I find him hilarious, but he's still offloading his accountability. He's still victim consciousness. He's still bitching about Vietnam, right? And that's why he is, in the end of the day, he's a weak man, despite the fact that I mean, he gets it too. Jackie Treehorn treats objects like women, man. Yeah. And then you have like the Jackie Treehorn character is one of the only competent guys, the porno maker. But then you see that he's a pervert. He's just drawing pictures of dicks. You don't have to see it. All right. Anyway, so check out this character.
Johnson?
All right, Mr. Lebowski. Let's get down to cases. My father told me he agreed to let you have the rod, but as it was a gift from me to my late mother, it was not his to give. Now, your face. As for this kidnapping.
Huh?
Yes, I know all about it, and I know that you acted as courier. Let me tell you something. The whole thing stinks to high heaven.
Yeah.
About feminists that we hate.
Oh, I don't know if you guys are enjoying it. I just love that who's on first type of, maybe I am a fucking Jew. I love that shit. The Biva picture, you mean vagina? After the first part, whatever. I think synonyms are funny.
You know the guy?
I might have introduced them for all I know. You
He's a total cuck. So Mr. Lebowski, the narcissist, the women let him run one company and he didn't do well at it. He doesn't have a job. All of that bravado is fake. And so I think she sets up the entire kidnapping to get her dad off the board and to get the money.
Oh, he's
Nicholas says, Owen admits Walter is a flawed narcissist and fondly looks up to him. Right. And I would dare say borderline worships the guy. Like he's sending praise his way.
No, he helps administer the charities now, and I give him a reasonable allowance. He has no money.
See, she treats him like he treats his teenage pornography, quote unquote, wife, where she's like, I give him an allowance. Apparently it's not enough for him. So he's spending money all over town. You see how it's a fractal? And so now the feminine energy that is now mixed with the masculine, the Baphomet feminist energy is now in control. And the seed of the hippie movement has now impregnated the feminist movement. Because the dude is like the hippie guy, is like not into, he's into free love and not into all that shit. And so now that seed has impregnated the feminist for the future of Hollywood.
His own. I know how he likes to present himself. Father's weakness is vanity.
And yeah, it's a fun, quirky movie. It has great characters. Again, the team name is Medina Saad, which means Holy Land in Islam, and then the land Saad. It could also mean House of Saad. Like there's and then if you look at when he buys the milk on 9/11, exactly 10 years to the day before, because he's broke, he doesn't have any money, and it's for 69 cents. There's a lot of gravy in this. There's a lot of Israel, Palestine, Saudi Arabia, 9/11. Like there's a lot of that in this. Now, I don't know if it's intentional. I have no fucking idea. Like who's broke? So you have the Caucasian, the dude, but yet his team name is Medina Saad. And then you have Walter, who's in Medina Saad, but he's a fake. He identifies as a Jew, and he has an Uzi, and he's always getting into mischief. And I just don't know where that goes. I can see signs, I can see symbolism, but I don't know. I can't make any claims about what that means. And I have a couple more. I have two cartoons that I want to show you guys because, again, I couldn't believe how much you guys related to the narcissism week. Like people seem to really enjoy it and get something out of it. I made this video. I can play this for you. Maybe I'll do that tomorrow. But this is an old school one about war and about why these type of psychological conditions can lead to such horrible things. Why it doesn't just mean it's good to be an empath or it's bad to be this or whatever. Where is it? Downloads. No, where is my documents? There we go. If you believe in nothing, Lebowski. Okay. This is when I was taking.
Treasure, need to get a shuffle on now, folks. Gifts to arrange and family dinner to prep for tomorrow. Before I go, what's everyone's bird or beast of choice for Christmas dinner? I am not picky. I'm not picky whatsoever. Um, Not picky about eating anything and or cooking anything. I've got a fond place for all of it, really. So not like I'm easily pleased for a holiday, Christmas, Thanksgiving kind of meal. Looks like we've got ham. See, I can get down on some ham. Roast beef for sure. Surf and turf for Christmas dinner over here. See, that sounds good too. I wouldn't even have thought about that, but that sounds delicious. Uranium says, have a Merry Christmas, Fraser. Larry says, duck. See, I can get down on some duck. Michael says, tamales for Christmas dinner. See, that sounds good too. All of that. Fraser says, at Larry, snap, good sir. Everyone else is for turkey and trimmings, but I'm going duck breast too. Ham is always on too. That's going in the soup though. Have a great one all. Have a great one, Fraser. I really appreciate you stopping by, and I hope y'all have a very pleasant Merry Christmas.
Taking on a lot of sadness when I was first learning about APAC and the nature of war. And Be Grateful Bear made this voiceover based on something I was saying at the piano, and about the nature of evil and the devil, and how it's all about humiliation. Like the devil is all about narcissism. Because
you don't say, Owen. You don't say. Or about humiliation. There's a clip of him telling his audience. He says in this clip, he says that he understands people going after money. He's about money. And then he says, for an example, he says, I yell at people every day telling them that they're gay in order to shame them into giving me money. So he knows about what the devil wants as far as humiliation and narcissism. He knows that. He tells his audience very clearly what he is. But you have to actively listen. Michael says, fresh homemade tamales, that is. Of course. Of course.
The devil is deeply, deeply insecure from a old trauma that in his mind is everything. That his father betrayed him by giving dominion to man. And because of that, he can justify horrible behavior. And his entire world that's rooted in envy and emptiness is to humiliate man. And so how does he humiliate man? He
Seriously. Thinking about Owen's story. What has he done? He felt very betrayed by his dad. If you don't know what I'm referring to, just think of the yellow raincoat live stream where he presented himself as somebody that was betrayed by his dad. And he's the martyr, and he's doing this because he wants to protect his mother. And then he wants to humiliate man. What does Owen Benjamin do on a day-to-day basis? It's pretty much a continuous humiliation ritual, not only for himself, but for his followers, his cult members.
attempts to get man to sacrifice their own children for the dumbest fucking reasons, using the weakness of man to do it. And when you fully see it, it can get you sad until you realize that.
And using the weakness of man, a lot of people that do find themselves being a follower, quote unquote, or a bear of Owen Benjamin, that do find themselves wrapped up in Owen's cult, especially, I would say, especially now, because there's not really much else to it, no substance really to his cult. They want to be close to somebody that was close to Hollywood. It's one of the reasons why he continuously reminds and tells new members of his Hollywood endeavors. He says Owen humiliates man every day.
It's not your job to save anybody. Your job is to do the best job you can as husband, father, community member, whatever your job is. And that's why gratitude and no victim consciousness is the whole thing. Because if God is just and if God is good, whatever the devil is doing is allowed. So the devil cannot victimize you. But this is a look.
Larry says, somebody save this clip, please. Larry, I'm writing down the timestamp, and I might be able to go back and make a clip of this. But it's on Benjamin's live stream, 2104 timestamp, 1 hour 59 minutes. And just on my own notes, I'm going to write down 1 hour 55.
Into that world.
I get haunted by thinking about the world wars and shit and war. So it's just like thinking about my sons. You fucking go influence and so much power. That's more than me. That's Satan, right? Because they didn't want to fake son. They do.
I'm glad that Be Grateful Bear put that down. And that's what I think is the motivator of all of it. And just that whole, I don't want to look stupid in front of the neighbors. That's why empathic artistic types can see it pretty clearly. And then when you try and explain it, you might get people call you names, and then you internalize it and then overreact and all that stuff. So there is like a problem with that. That's why it's so important just to be like grateful. You know, don't even let that shit haunt you. Because that's part of the trick. Part of the trick is sitting around going, oh, the Jew banks, like they're just gonna brother wars, killing all the whites and blah, blah, blah. Like it's unfair. When you really let go of victim consciousness, and what I'm saying right now, I guarantee is infuriating somebody. Oh, wasn't you? You don't know. You'll lose your farm.
It is kind of infuriating. See, he's kind of spot on with that. And he knows because he has a conscience himself. He has that voice in the back of his head saying, well, you did do all of this stuff. And for people to hear him say this, the victim consciousness, that would be, I mean, it's not. Okay, so in 2020, during the worldwide pandemic, where everybody was losing their jobs and businesses, and they were losing loved ones, they couldn't go see them and all that kind of stuff. Owen was saying, give me your money and I'm gonna help you. Now, did I watch him do this? No. It was in hindsight. I was able to watch, thank God for Milker Nation, his 10-hour documentary. You can watch it go down in his own words, in Owen's own words. And so whenever he says this is going to infuriate some people, absolutely. I can definitely understand why it would piss people off to hear Owen Benjamin talk about victim consciousness after all of the victims that he's made. That is completely understandable.
Suck your dick. I know what it sounds like too. It's a trick. It's a trick, and I know the trick. I'm just not gonna push it on anybody because that's like what I've learned over the years. So this is what the whisper sounds like. This is the personification of like the demonic whisper sounds like, and it sounds an awful lot like a gaslighting narcissist, right?
You don't deserve anything. You're gonna die. All your friends and family, they're gonna give you an illness.
By the way, if you're susceptible, if you have like a fragile spirit, you know, which is fine, just fast forward 5 minutes from right now, and then you'll just keep watching. It's not like graphic or anything. It's just,
yeah, if you have a fragile spirit, that's that's exactly who Owen Benjamin wants to be listening to him. Easily manipulated. Somebody that's not going to question. Somebody that's not going to go over to the Reddit, the Gamma Hive, and see what's been going on over the last 6-7 years.
legitimately what it sounds like. And this, again, was during COVID, and how gaslighting and manipulation sounds while it's happening.
Right. And the most accurate thing that he could do is go play the Milker Nation 10-hour documentary. He's saying, give me money. He even goes so far as to say, yes, sell your IRAs. Give me your money and I will help you through this. We'll have this place to go if the world collapses around you. I promise you, if we don't hit our goal of $2 million, I promise you I will not keep your money.
And then after, the normies and everyone will see it and go, wow, who could have guessed? Me. I'll tell you the whole time while it's happening. And it still happens. It's still happening every single day. And it's a behavior that you can analyze. That's why I did Narcissist Week, just so people can better protect themselves.
You don't deserve anything. You're going to die, baby, for the earth.
Yeah, so I'm going to fast forward this. There's nothing inside of me that wants to hear Owen Benjamin whisper, whatever that is.
Listen, ladies and gentlemen, our battle is not fresh and blood. You see how that can be disturbing, but it's accurate. And I think it's helpful to hear that because that's literally what it all sounds like. And once you can identify it, you're free.
You know what else is disturbing? Hearing Owen Benjamin say that it's better for a grown man to marry a 12-year-old than to have consensual relations with an adult woman.
You're like, oh, you're doing the thing. When they're like, when someone's trying to make you feel afraid, make you feel like people hate you, make you feel like you're broken, make you feel, that you just be like, that isn't real. These are the voicemails BB leaves me. I'm like, shut the fuck up, Coddington. Oh, wait a minute. I'm just kidding, Coddington. I value you. It's just the funniest line is, what do you need a dick for, dude? The voice.
Exactly. Uranium penetrator. Guys, we'll build the promised land with your stimmies. And by stimmies, he's referring to stimulus checks.
Sounds like a real jerk. Yeah, that's why comedy's so good at this shit. Comedy's a great disarmer for narcissists. All right, let's read some super chats and then we'll start calling it a day. All right, let's go here. Hi, Owen. I was just rewatching your stream, The Narcissist, from last November, then hopped on this stream right as you were talking about narcissists. Thank you. Your insights have been profoundly helpful for me. Anytime, my friend. And I should play that other video. I just will tomorrow, I think. It's getting a little late in the day. Actually, no, it's Christmas, so I won't be doing a stream. I can do Christmas Eve. I'm not doing Christmas, though. But Christmas Eve, I'll do maybe an evening stream. I enjoy these. You enjoy these. Let's just do the streams. Merry and blessed Christmas, BB, of course, to Cod and all the bears. Indeed. Q Bear. Merry Christmas, Bear Taria. Thanks, Amory, 13. And won't catch live today, but we'll watching this one later. Your movie breakdowns are easily some of my favorite streams. Such a good medium for you to dig into. Thank you, Owen, and love y'all. Yeah, I felt like, especially talking about narcissism, it's so easy to be like, oh, no, you're secretly the narcissist. Oh, you don't you know? When you're showing a movie.
Nobody is saying secretly that Owen Benjamin is the narcissist. Nobody. It's not a secret at all. If you've caught more than a handful of streams by Owen, you know that he's a narcissist, or at least close to it.
Character with behavior and backstory. That's how you write a character, is backstory. What motivates a character? What's his motivations? That's what writing is all about. And as a writer, I can see that in life. Like I can break down someone's motivations and blah, 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 but some people can't. And so when you're looking at a classification, it's really good to show a movie.
I wonder because I started noticing him saying blah, 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 probably maybe 6 months ago or so. He's always said it, but it seems as though that it's increased. It's such a lazy crutch to have, especially being who he is, a IQ having of 147 who saves people from whatever and being the master rhetorician that he is. Nicholas says, doing an evening stream on Christmas Eve, so Amy has to take the 4 boys and put them to bed on her own on the most exciting night for literally every child. What a POS. Friendly Ghost, how are you doing? Merry Christmas. In 7 minutes from Australia, TGRS and crew. Good to see you, Friendly Ghost, and Merry Christmas to you. So in 7 minutes, so our 8 o'clock in Texas, if it's 8 a.m., it's midnight in Australia. Wow. Merry Christmas, Friendly Ghost. It's always good to see you. Hopefully y'all are having the most pleasant Christmas that you can possibly have.
Because you know the character, and then you can apply it to your life. It was funny on Twitter, somebody was like, why do you have to separate people into narcissist and this, and you're just a separator? I go, are you gay? He wrote, no, I have a wife. I go, what's up with the categories and the separations? And then he tried to sound, he was such a gamma. He was like, he tried to say something clever, and it was just so fucking stupid.
So lame. What is so lame? There's so many times where he reminds me, you ever just, you're doing something, like your kids are playing with other kids and you're doing something and you just overhear, you overhear their conversation. And you think, is that how I talked whenever I was that old? Oh my.
I'm like starting to get a little bored with gammas and narcissists. Like, I know it's funny to respond to them and watch their heads pop, but man, they're just so dumb. All right, professional expert bear. Prayers to a local friend up here in Bonners Ferry who was just diagnosed with stage 3 pancreatic cancer and transferred to Sacred Heart Hospital in Spokane. He's a young dude and a highly recommended electrician in my area. I'm sorry to hear that. I hope he recovers. Yeah, sounds like a good dude. Thanks for that, professional expert bear. And I think that's caught up. Cool. All right, let's read a little mail. Matt Cox and John McAfee's bodyguard on a month or so ago. Great stream. The mouth that does the DVD screen thing where it never hits the corners. I don't know what you guys are talking about. And if you want to super chat, entropystream.live/app/Owen Benjamin Comedy. And of course, P.O. Box 490, Sandpoint, Idaho 83864. And the cheese tutorial is looking done at this point. I'm going to do better audio next time. I'm going to get lavaliers, but I did the best I could at the time, and I will just keep improving it. And so that'll be available for purchase exclusively at Beartaria Times app. That's app.beartariatimes.com.
Oh, wow. So he is selling cheese tutorials on his Bear app. That's new. Didn't know that. That's interesting. Especially when you consider the last notable time that he talked about cheese. He said, check that shit out. And then he proceeded to say, F you and the Lord, because he didn't get enough money.
It's probably going to take at least a week to get up there. But I think it's a really cool thing. And some bears have already offered to, like Double D Bear wants to do a tutorial for moms how to cut young kids' hair, stuff like that. I think the future of the app, a lot of it is going to be in education. It's going to be in community-based lessons and then a follow-up back and forth.
This is a grift that he's been doing for 4 years, going on 5 years. Back in 2020, one of the things that he was wanting money for land for was to be able to have workshops. And even before that, Connington, there's that video, and you can find the video. I've never been able to find the actual clip without, who was it? It was Porcelain. He has a clip in his Smarter Than the Average Bear documentary where Coddington is talking about an app to where they have different workshops and whatnot. I don't remember what the app was called or what the class was called, but they've been doing this same thing for years. Nothing ever comes out of it. And for them to think right now, because the bear community, the cult, the bear cult is smaller than it's ever been. And for them to present it once again, it's pretty much the definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. But it's even worse than that because they don't have the people anymore for it to be sustainable, for them to actually make money. Well, I mean, they'll make money, but it's just not going to be, it's not going to be worth it. Nicholas, hey Bears, don't you dare go to YouTube and search up cheese making. If I send you went to YouTube, you're banned, right? I mean, exactly, Nicholas. Friendly Ghost, YouTube banned all good cheese docos. That's funny. BB Muslim said so. Yeah, you can't go to YouTube for cheese making.
Which is what it's going to be. The cheese lesson from my wife for cheddar cheese. And then after, we can do follow-up videos or answer questions based on what you want to know about it or anything you want to interact with. And that's why the app is so good for that, because you have that social element of interaction. You have the community aspect. You can get a little cheese symbol next to your name that shows you completed the cheese. You're a cheese master.
All right. So as far as I understand, Friendly Ghost, it is 8:00 a.m. right now in Texas, which means it's 12 o'clock in Australia, which means Merry Christmas to Liz and Friendly Ghost and all of our friends in Australia. Jack Power says everybody has identified Owen as a narcissist, so he goes online and explains how everyone else is a narcissist. Level 1 spellcasting. Exactly. Jack Power hit that out of the park. Nicholas, flat cheese doc, you mean you mean Terry's, oh my, are basically shadow banned. What's next? Pizza? You know it with raw dough. Friendly Ghost, Merry Christmas.
Then we could do hair. We can do all kinds of stuff. Other people have told me some stuff they want to do, because teaching is so fun. You learn something new about your own craft when you teach it. Like whenever I've tried to do piano lessons, and I'm assuming this goes well, this tutorial goes well.
Going so just a suggestion. What he just said, whenever you teach about your own craft, why doesn't he try to teach spellcraft? You would think that I think that he's touched on it every once in a while because he has to, because he claims to be a master rhetorician, spellcraft wizard, spell breaker, and all that kind of stuff. But I don't think he's ever gone into full, complete detail of what wizards and spellcraft people and all that kind of stuff do. Now he touches on it every once in a while, but I don't think he's ever actively explained it. And the reason why is because a magician doesn't give away his secrets. Nicholas says, Tex, he'll finally write that book in prison. We can only hope.
I'm going to do a piano class on there, and I'm going to do a bunch of videos. It's going to be
The irony of that, the poetic irony of that would be he would actually write that book, and then because of the law saying that people can't make money off of their own crimes, he wouldn't be able to make any money off of it. It would go back to his victims. The money that would be made from the book would actually go to the victims. Friendly Ghost, right? He can barely read, but he is manipulatively smart. He is. He's smart enough to get himself in trouble.
lot, right? My wife is hard to get on camera for long periods of time. Like during the tutorial, it's so funny. She's also cooking bread. She's also handling kids. But I got a great video from her. I got a great video.
So then what is he doing whenever his wife is doing the tutorial? She's baking bread while she's making a cheese tutorial. She's also baking bread and taking care of his children. So he's got her making a cheese tutorial. And what is he doing? Not taking care of the kids and not baking the bread. Fairly good. See above? No kidding. Nicholas, he'll get that B in the next sale to ride it. For Kit Kats, allegedly. Honey buns as well.
From her for over a half hour. And then there's going to be a lot of follow-up and all that stuff. So I hope you're excited about that. Of course, owenbenjamin.com for my new special. All right. Thank you from Jonathan Bear. Thank you, Jonathan Bear. I got a lot of letters to read, which is a great thing. Did you guys enjoy today? I didn't really see too much feedback in the
Uranium Penetrator says, got called into work. Thanks for going live, TGRS. Have a Merry Christmas, y'all. Absolutely, Uranium. You're more than welcome. Hopefully you have a good day at work today. Sorry you're working on Christmas Eve, but I mean, I am sorry that you're working on Christmas Eve. But you wouldn't be doing it if you didn't want to, I don't think. Nicholas, up. Merry Christmas, UP. You have a blessed day, Uranium. And my beautiful wife says, Merry Christmas to all of you.
chat, but I feel good about today. A tip for the entertainer, that's for the good people. And then Anthony from Grandview. Thank you, Anthony. And I got a really generous super chat from yesterday on my website or the day before. So whoever sent that, I'm going to send a thank you. That was very nice. And we'll go to a very productive place. We got a lot going on and we're always trying to improve and all that stuff. You know, the goal for the cheese tutorial was just to make enough on it to pay for the equipment, you know, the new comp, the new mics, all that stuff. But either way, you know, things have really stabilized. And
But a decade in, he's finally putting in some money into his microphone and his headphones and all that kind of stuff. Friend goes, it's too late. Right. Nicholas gets a massive donation. Doesn't remember their name. Very grateful. Right. Yeah, Friendly Ghost is called money laundering. Yeah. I do think that there's a pretty good possibility that that is an aspect of his business model. I really do.
You don't have to feel, you know, bad about me, but sometimes those super chats are just so beautiful, man. Means a lot, and they go to a good place, and I'm very, very grateful. Greetings, Owen, Amy, and family. And the Christmas cards are out. My hair looks retarded in this year's Christmas card, but that's fine.
Leaf, good morning. I sent you an email this morning. It was pretty early. I'm so sorry it took so long. It should have that clip in it. It's always good to see you, Leaf. And I'm so sorry it took so long to get that back to you. I think I told you last week that I'd get it to you. So I greatly apologize for that. Hopefully you're having a good Christmas Eve, though. Only Ghost, it's an aspect, but he's trying desperately to fix his books right now. Discovery. Right. Nicholas, he likely claims all of the digital super chats, half of the analog super chats. That kind of blows my mind a little bit that you think he claims half of the analog. I think that probably would be, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if he did, but I wouldn't imagine that he claims hardly any of them because, I mean, why would he? He gets away with as much as he possibly can, I think. Leaf, no worries. Thanks. I'm the queen of procrastination. Thank you for understanding. I was meaning to last Monday or Tuesday, and then something happened and I wrote it down. And then I planned on doing it Wednesday, and then I don't know, excuses. But this morning I got up earlier than I was planning on. I was like, yeah, I'll go ahead and go live, and I busted out my notebook, and the first thing that I saw was send Leaf the clip, and I was like, oh crap. And so I did that. I appreciate you, Leaf.
Fine. Every year with more kids, you'll see I'm less and less kempt, and I'm trying, but it's just the more kids you have, the more you have to do it over and over and over again because the kids are pretty tough to, it's like, I heard it was called herding cats. And so there's some pictures where I look pretty studly, but it's more important to have the kids look reasonable and good because they're for family and friends, and I don't really matter. When you become a dad, one element is you matter the most. Like, you are the head of the family. Like, you're not this peon cuck that they put you as in commercials. But at the same time, you also matter the least when it comes to, like, nobody's like, man, I just need this Christmas card to see what Owen looks like this year. No, everybody wants to see what the kids look like. So when you see the Christmas card, yes, my hair looks real fucked up. But there were some other ones where it didn't. But in those ones, it was like Freddie was throwing a nutcracker at Jack. All right. Greetings. Or George was walking through the fucking, maybe we should have used that one. There was one that was really funny where George was walking through the picture. I don't know. We just picked the one. I hope you guys enjoyed. I sent it out to my entire Christmas list. Greetings, Owen, Amy, and family. I'd like to send you a note at least once a year to sincerely thank you for your streams and sharing your life and family with me and all the bears. You are very much appreciated for giving another year of laughs, inspiration, and insights like no one else can. I may only manage one note a year, but my husband and I are unauthorized.tv, and we're on the Bear app, and Ursa Rio and her Ozarks supporters. Wow, that is great. Thank you so much. Onward to 2025. Love, Mama Bear of 4 Cubs. I love it. I love that so much, and I appreciate it. And I think 2025 may be the year of gratitude. I don't know. We got to talk about it, though. Owen's vulgarity is hilarious.
Oh, everyone knows that the naming of the year doesn't matter because, well, I mean, it kind of does with the lawsuit and everything. I think it did work out that this year was, now that I'm thinking about it, this year was the year of accountability. I think he was held accountable way more than he wanted to be. Well, obviously, he doesn't want to be held accountable at all. So maybe there is something to that.
I'm trying to not be as vulgar, honestly. I thought my vulgarity was pulling back.
He says during a live stream where he 2 different times mentioned drinking a certain bodily fluid.
I don't know. Because that was one part in The Big Lebowski where the Sam Elliott character's like, you got to use as much curse words, dude. I'm like, that's a good point. You got to curse so much. I'm honestly trying to curse less. But I'm not going to lose comedy for it. But I do think about it. Big Brad.
That actually made me chuckle a little. I'm not going to lose comedy for it. Well, that means that you're not that funny, man. If you have to rely on the crutches of vulgarity to be funny, I mean, how funny are you? I'm not saying that it's necessarily a bad thing. I do that whenever I'm hanging out with my buddies, my brothers and whatnot. Sometimes you just see that opportunity and you take it. But to solely rely on that, which, I mean, does he have comedy outside of vulgarity? I don't think so. I mean, his last special, he tried to push it as family friendly, and I mean, it was probably one of the worst ones. Not only just worse production wise, but quality wise, as far as jokes.
Just want to send you an analog super chat before the end of the year because this month's streams have been particularly valuable and funny. Here's a few of my observations from your recent streams. Of all the funny things that you do, I think the most funny to me was when you call your worst that I'm the worst cult leader ever moments. When you were yelling, "Don't super chat me, I don't want them." I was imagining the gamma trolls that call you a cult leader all red-faced and furious, wondering how they can spin that into a hit piece, right? So what he really means is, yeah, the psychology's, I hope after Narcissist Week and even Empathy Week, I'm sure I have trolls that are empaths that overreacted to some imaginary boundary cross that I did, that now they're in a perpetual that's why I'm telling you guys, victim consciousness is the whole problem.
Victim consciousness is the whole problem. Coming from the dude who is the perpetual victim. You know, one thing that I would like to see from Owen is him he go on to the subreddit, his Owen Benjamin subreddit, and just talk about all of the posts that people make. His point of view of what people actively say about him. That would be interesting. Because he never really addresses anything that anybody's actively saying about him. He always says something really stupid and crazy. He takes it to the extreme that nobody's saying. Earlier, he said something about people say that he murdered somebody or something. Nobody's ever said that.
That's the whole problem, man. Because it's like, I don't think all of my enemies are just narcissists. I'm sure some have similar qualities that I have. They're probably like in their mind, like Walter overreacting to Smokey crossing the line in bowling, where just some imaginary perfection that I did not satisfy for them, they now are just trying to establish boundaries and all this stuff by just being complete psychos. I think most are narcissistic though, because the narcissist is angry at reality itself. And when you see someone constantly changing the way that they have to slander you to see what works.
Oh, oh, oh my. To constantly change. Pretty much I'd say 90% of the people that call Owen Benjamin out, that hold Owen Benjamin accountable, stick to the same stuff. Dangerous, predatorial, cult leader who ran an investment scam in 2020 and still continues to run an investment scam. Those things haven't changed at all.
You know that they're like, they don't like reality. You know, my senior quote in high school was,
they don't like reality. This is a cult leader telling his cult that what they live in is reality. And the only reason why other people speak out against their cult is because they don't like reality. That's what cults do. That's what cult leaders do. Scientology does that.
I'm losing the war against reality, said the olive to the toothpick. And no one fucking understood it. No one. They thought I was just being like a weirdo. And I was well liked in high school. I wasn't like seen as a weird guy. I was like a relatively popular kid by my senior year in high school. But no one got it. I'm losing the war against reality, said the olive to the toothpick. It was about a narcissist drinking himself to death.
Larry says, an AMA with Owen on the subreddit. How amazing would that be, Larry? Nicholas, whatever Owen's quote is probably a lie. Yeah, he pretty much said that his quote was so profound. He did say the quote, something about an olive and a toothpick, but it was so profound, everybody just thought he was a weirdo. But yet everybody liked him. Friendly Ghost, AMA with Larry, not Tom and Owen, right? And he completely ignores the fact that there are people from his hometown that speak out against him. Not one time ever really acknowledging them.
And I guess I should have read the room a little better, because olive to the toothpick inside a martini glass. I'm losing the war against reality. Because I've noticed that my whole life. Like, my comedy always is making fun of that quality in people, where you're fighting reality, right? Or you're overreacting to perceived injustice. Like
how delusional do you have to be to actively try to rewrite history while your history, the majority of your history, is online? You can find the majority of his comedy specials online for free. The movies that he was in, most of his live streams. And this dude tries to rewrite history in such a way that he just believes, I guess, I don't know. I mean, this is one of the reasons why he live streams 3 or 4 hours a day. I guess 2 to 4 hours a day. Is so the people that want to listen to him, they don't have the time to actively go back and try to see if he's telling the truth or not. Leaf says, I bet he drinks martinis like a bitch. He probably does. He did like them White Claws, though. You're good, Leaf. Larry, enter, not Tom. William, he convinces himself of his own lies, actually starts to believe it. See, that's a possibility, but I mean, I- yeah, that's a possibility.
This is why the Coen brothers are so funny. Okay, I guess no one likes the quote, which there's no reason to. I get it. I can take feedback and know that I did not read the room properly. I'm losing the war against reality, said the olive to the toothpick. And also, olives and toothpicks can't talk, and it's from the perspective of a drunk narcissist. Yeah, it's a bit deep for high school. I thought it was funny. I'm like, oh, this is hilarious. A narcissist drinking himself to death, looking at an olive and a toothpick in a martini glass, fighting reality, but they can't even talk. And people are like, I'm like, really? I didn't.
Okay, so I got distracted by something. The point of what I was trying to make is he's saying, oh, my comedy has always been that kind of observational type or whatever, that deep of an observational. No, it has not. If you go back and look at his stand-up comedy, back whenever he was an active stand-up comic, he was actually a stand-up comedian, practicing the craft of stand-up comedy in front of crowds that were not his cult. It was observational humor, but it was very shallow. Relationship, men are like dogs, and all that kind of stuff.
Okay. I don't think Narco Longo got called gay because he's a vegetarian. I think he got called gay because he's a gay. Where's my horn? I've realized that everyone in the world that I enjoy being around or listening to on devices have one thing in common. They have no agenda outside of truth and just enjoy being around. I'm so invigorated by being around awesome people that just want to enjoy life and figure out the best way forward. This is why I enjoy your stream so much. Even when you aren't happy with something, you are working on the best way forward and obviously are doing the best for the community and especially those you love. Wow. Thank you very much. I always thought my most hummed Christmas song during the month of December would be Lewis Brothers' version of It's the Holiday Season. So far this year, it's the Bears version of the 12 Days of Christmas. Awesome. Finally, I'm not sure if the Jewish pianist is actually Jewish. Maybe the ADL should check that out. Hilarious. My best to you and the family, everyone at unauthorized.tv. Bill, thank you so much, my friend. You understand me, and I understand you. High scores are retarded. No, looking back, it's too highbrow. I wasn't trying to be, in my defense, I wasn't trying to be arrogant with that bit. I'm losing the war against reality, said the olive to the toothpick. I never tried to be condescending, like, oh, you don't get it. I was never like E.E. Cummings. You ever see E.E. Cummings poetry? Like, I'll show you E.E. Cummings. I loathe E.E. Cummings. E. Cummings is like the type of shit I despise. I'll do it another day. Narco rim job is everywhere. I like Narco. I like him. I think he's an interesting guy. I think he gets real pissed off thinking about meat eating, but that's all right. I really like oranges. But yeah, I mean, if you I get why I just bought half a cow. It's like some of the best meat I've ever had. It is a ethically raised grass-fed cow from down the street. We just got our freezer filled with steaks and beef, and I'm into it. But I do actually eat a lot of fruits and vegetables and beans. There's something to cleanses. There's something to periods of time where you consume very little meat, and I'm into it. I unapologetically am into it. You feel clean. You feel vibrant, but at the same time, over time, I couldn't just stay that way. Over time, I'm like missing something that I feel grounded with some meat eating for, occasionally. Like it gives me like a grounding. I feel less whimsical. Like sometimes I can get a lot of energy from just eating oranges, but I'm like, I'm more spazzy. Like I'm easier to take places versus meat can kind of ground me a bit. I don't know. Maybe it's just in my head. Maybe it's zinc. High schoolers don't drink martinis. They do in Oswego, New York, my friend. Hello, Big Bear family and the Bears.
Such a strange thing to hear a grown man say. I'm easier to take places whenever I eat meat. You're a grown man. I mean, that is another example of him not being able to control his emotion. I'm easier to take places. Like a small child. He hasn't had a snack yet. And so he's acting up.
Hope everyone is crushing. Earlier this year, you said you wanted to burn a few bikes. So I took that literally and made you a bike that you could actually burn during that time I broke up with my girlfriend of 7 years. It's awesome. The thing he made me. Yeah, at 52, that's gay. But when I went to look for it, it was nowhere to be found. And that is when I realized she was a bike thief. Yes, she was a nig. So it took some time, but enclosed is a wood burning of a bicycle. Please feel free to burn it whenever you feel, maybe on your birth. So no worries about the bike thief. I got reacquainted with old friends and things are going great. We have so many things in common. She loves coming up to my cabin and we plan on moving there after I sell my house. Funny story, when I asked her out, I told her there was something about me that many do not know. She looked at me funny. I said that I'm a geocentric. She looked at me funny again. I said, you know what a heliocentric is. She says, so you're a flat earther? And that she would be interested in learning about it. I did say I'm more of a true earther. This is my second letter. And in my last letter, I'd mentioned was close to getting a trailer for my tractor so I could start a business doing tractoring stuff. Well, I got the trailer and I've done several jobs, some for cash, some for barter. One of the barter jobs was for an ATV that they didn't need anymore. Sweet deal. Thanks for all the laughs and knowledge. Enclosed is a little cash to pay some gay away from Backhoe Bear. Thank you, Backhoe Bear. Very funny. Very funny. Hilarious. Grass-fed is all I eat. Yeah, and just well-treated, well-killed, well-fed cows. I mean, I feed my dairy cows dairy feed, grain, but it's non-GMO, no corn. It's a great mix, local. I think it gives the milk a lot of they mostly eat grass, but I think it gives the milk a real boost. May God bless your sweet family and may he fill your home with lots of love and joy throughout his next year. Onward. Oh, Winky Bear, Hunter Gatherer Bear, Bright Light Bear, Thunder Bear, and Baby Thorin 2024. Merry Christmas. Thank you. You guys are crushing it. I can't wait to be in Missouri this winter and work on stuff. God willing. Wishing you and the family and spectacular Christmas. And
what was that? Going to Missouri this winter.
For Merry Christmas. Thank you. You guys are crushing it. I can't wait to be in Missouri this winter and work on stuff. God willing. Wishing you and the family and spectacular Christmas and New Year's. Enclosed is a little Christmas cheer for my daily laughs. Keep crushing, bro. Iron is forged in fire. Oakland in the house, Iron Man Bear. Dude, Oakland in the house, Iron Man Bear helped. He was the one who suggested 2025 year of gratitude. I really like that because I really boiled down, no matter what your personality type is or what your problems are, like what your blind spots are, your shadow. Being grateful and not having victim consciousness is like the kryptonite of all grabbler tendencies. Myself.
Whenever he mentions victim consciousness, it's like nails on a chalkboard. To hear a dangerous predatory cult leader who actively seeks people that are easily manipulated, victims, to talk about victim consciousness. Watching somebody that's a predator talk to their prey saying, "Oh, I'm doing this because it's your fault. You deserve this. You're not the victim. You deserve this." That's what I hear. That's what I see whenever I hear Owen Benjamin mention victim consciousness.
Self included. Like it's always the way into a terrible position. Externalizing blame, externalizing accountability, feeling you're owed something, not being grateful, focusing on some little thing that you want to change when you have so much. I love the year of gratitude. Yeah, me too. I like it a lot. Just to consciously be grateful for what you have. Even misery. It's like, be grateful for the lesson.
Leaf, just checked my email. That was perfect, Goat. I appreciate that. And what's stupid is I recorded it probably 30 times before that, like last week or the week before last, and I was thinking about it too much. I appreciate that. Sorry it took so long. What Owen Benjamin is doing right now is he's using a universal truth. Who doesn't know that being thankful for what you have is better than not being thankful? Everybody knows that. That's a universal truth. And he's presenting it as though what he just said. He said, and what I did was point this out. You're not the only one that's ever pointed that out.
And be grateful for the new insight. And dude, it's like a superpower, man. You can't go wrong with gratitude. Seriously, lacking in today's world. Yeah, and you guys have watched me battle it over the years. There's times when I'm a naturally optimistic person, but I'm naturally pretty grateful. Like I'm a little bit like Will Ferrell in Old School, when at the end he gets invited to an orgy and he's like, "Yes, crushing it." Like he really got excited about something.
That is so weird. I'm a little bit like Will Ferrell in Old School when he got invited to an orgy.
Terrible. I really like that scene. But sometimes I can be a victim-y little asshole. Like, yeah, I mean, I engage with narcissistic trolls and then I wonder why they obsess about me. It's literally me doing it. And in the past, there's been times like, why won't they stop? It's like, well, you present reality to people that see reality as a threat. Oh, says the flurf. I'm not.
How many times has he said that just in this one live stream? That's something that's important to point out. You present reality. Honest question. In this live stream so far, what reality has Owen Benjamin presented that's offensive? The only reality that's offensive is the reality that he refuses to acknowledge. The reality of him being a dangerous predatory cult leader. The reality of him doing a land investment scam during a worldwide pandemic. Those are the realities that are offensive.
A flurf. I'm like, literally have a very, very.
And not to mention the things that he says about children.
Very sane and practical and logical position when it comes to evidence and the shape of the earth. It's like boringly normal. It's like, it has like the very, very little assumptions of anything. Merry Christmas, Owen, Amy, Walter, Charlie, Jack, and Freddie. Appreciate you all much. Mishi Bear. Thank you, Mishi Bear. Crushing it. Let me check in on old Codsworth, see if we got any super chats. Here's one. The edit of the devil hissing was so good. You and Red Bar are the only two streams I listen to. I think you and him are the only people who aren't shills. Yeah, Red Bar is definitely not a shill. He's very talented. He tries hard. And he's naturally funny. Merry Christmas, Big Bear and Amy. Longbow and I hope you have a wonderful holiday. And Amy, I cannot wait to see the How to Make Cheese video once it's finished. You are crushing so much through the busiest time of year. With lots of love, Clay Bear and Longbow Bear. And I'm so happy for you two kids. Such a wonderful story. Such a wonderful story. I love it. And don't forget, hard times are still good times. Like figuring out what the key, or my advice for marriages and relationships, like really remember you're on the same team. It's so obvious, but so important. And people forget it all the time. Like, especially in conflict, you're on the same team. Like your perceived problem, like just a lot of it is communication problems. A lot of it is reaction to forgetting that you're on the same team. If you're on the same team, it's all good. And it's like one of the things that you can absolutely forget while you're in an argument, while you're in a phase. You're on the same fucking team and you're different, and that's fine, you know? And just don't do a shame, like fight and then shame and then you know, like couples can do that thing where they have a fight, they apologize, they realize they love each other, that they just misunderstood the other person, then the shame kicks in, and then it builds up to another fight. You can just not do that. Kind of like the advice I gave about narcissists, or what the dude does to Mr. Lebowski. Imagine inside you is a Lebowski, is a dude, is a whatever, a Walter, and they're all paths to go down, like all mistakes you can make. And when you understand that, you can just not engage with it. You can just not do it. Just like, don't get mad. I know it sounds so simple. Like I spent years where me and Amy would get in an argument, and I'd later feel bad that I like got mad, you know, and we'd figure it out. And she'd beat herself up about, she just goes blank. She doesn't talk in arguments sometimes. Like even this tone would be like way back in the day, years ago, 12, 13 years ago, this tone, she could get, it could be like it could make her nervous. Because my family speaks like this, you know, we're very animated. We move our hands. It's very confident. Like I'll talk like this. I can project my voice. Her family is not like that. So she would shut down. I would think I'd have to talk bigger and make bigger points. It would start a cycle. We get in a fight. And then afterwards, we'd both feel shame. Why do I have to be so loud? She'd be like, why can't I talk in conflict? We're on the same team, blah, blah, blah. And eventually I was just like, I'm just not gonna get mad. And it works so well. It's so fucking
when did that revelation happen? And when did he start using that? When did he start utilizing that? Actively practicing that. I'm just gonna stop getting mad. When did that happen? Now he does. I've noticed over the last couple of years that he goes up and down as far as what he allows himself to do on stream. But
it seems so hard because every time you're like, oh, we're not going to do that again. We're on the same team. And then you're in an argument and your just instincts take over. And then later you see each other's point of view and everything's good. And you're like, man, I'm so mad at myself, or blah, blah, blah. Don't do the shame spiral. If your intentions were good, if you were trying to hurt someone you love, have shame, because that's terrible. You're like doing an evil thing. Like if you're trying to hurt someone, that's really bad. But if you made a mistake in the attempt to communicate with someone, or if you misunderstood them and felt attacked or whatever, don't have shame. Like just be like, what can I learn from that? And then just don't do that anymore. And it sounds daunting, and there'd be like years that go by and I'd still make the same mistake and she'd make the same mistake. And then it just worked. And a lot of it has to do with the changes you try and do in yourself. And I know sometimes this week has sounded like I'm some shrink where it's like, oh, this is what a narcissist is, blah, blah, blah. Let me tell you something women love. They don't love when you psychoanalyze them. Don't be like, oh, listen, Tina, I'm an empath and you're a narcissist, and right now you're rejecting reality. Don't fucking do that. If she sees you working on yourself, where you're trying to analyze why you do what you do.
Knowing what we know about Owen Benjamin, this is absolutely disgusting what he's doing right now.
And you're trying to be better to her and your kids based on like really analyzing what causes any ill behavior. They love that. They love when a man works on himself, not find ammunition against them. It's like when you not like begging their forgiveness and shame, and those apologies women don't like. But if you're genuinely apologizing, like, I now see that this is what I did wrong. I really don't want to do that in the future. I totally like looking back, I don't even know why I was thinking that. Like, but your intention was good and you're genuinely apologizing and you're working on it. They love that, you know, because that's all anyone asks of anyone. My wife once said in anger, my family is more normal than yours. It made me laugh. Yeah. Cause it's like one thing you do is I'm not wrong.
There's a reason why there's a saying that a lot of people know. The road to hell is paved with good intentions. What he's saying right now is not good, true, or beautiful. Just because your intentions are good does not mean that you're not being a royal jackwagon. And the advice that he's giving right now, coming from the dangerous predatory cult leader that we know as Owen Benjamin.
Wrong. I talk loud. I'm not wrong. I'm comfortable in conflict. I just say more words. I understand motivations behind people better. Imagine being married to me. There's tremendous upsides to it. Kind, loving, funny, stable, high achiever. I understand.
William says, Owen does this after he mentally abused them for hours, then fake apologizes because he needs to feed off their energy. He is the vampire parasite. Well said, William.
There's tremendous negatives as well. I can see like the thing that makes me interesting on live streams can sometimes be totally annoying for my wife, where I can, as something's happening, I can be so quick to analyze like motivation, why someone would say that, backstory, understand underlying things. Like, it's a nightmare. So someone saying my family's more normal than yours is like true. It doesn't, just because you talk big and you can see shit and all that, it does not make you right. And it doesn't mean you can act that way if it genuinely bothers your life. Change isn't bad. Changing who you are, rejecting who you are is bad. Like fundamentally changing who you are, hiding, pretending to be someone else, no longer pursuing what you love or your purpose because your wife is upset.
It's not bad if you're naturally an asshole, though. you can not be an asshole even though that's who you naturally are. One of my best friends, he is naturally that. But he actively tries not to be that because he knows that that's not a good thing to be.
Cover your purpose because your wife is upset or has anxiety. That's all terrible. But understanding her and not just doing everything exactly how you want because you're right. Like, why can't I just, and then what happens is they'll try to meet you as well. And they'll be like, yeah, maybe I could be better in conflict. Maybe I could talk more. Maybe I don't have to shut down. And it's like, and then you're fine. And it's not even a compromise because it's better for both people. A compromise is like you give something up to triangulate middle ground. I like win-wins. I don't like compromise. I don't like we both are. Is great. Giving up who you are, you're just being more effective. You know, and then you fight less, you are more appreciated. It's a win-win.
Can you imagine putting what he just said into practice? Never compromising, always trying to make a win-win. compromise is a good thing.
I don't know. So that's my advice.
Especially okay, so it's not always a good thing, but I mean, the win-win situation, what he's saying, his win-win is not win-win. It's not win-win. It's him winning and then somebody else like conceding. Somebody else is compromising in his win-win. I would almost guarantee that 100%.
To the young couples, win-win deals are the only deals I'm into. Yeah, but even what I just described isn't compromise. It's like, it doesn't work. Communication is all about working. Like, does it work? A word is supposed to effectively transmit an idea or a feeling or, a logistic. If it doesn't work, you aren't communicating well. So if you're talking really fast and you're really analytical, like my family could communicate fast, analytical, humor, quick forgiveness, just boom, 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 boom. If you're doing that with someone and it's not working well, you're not communicating properly, and you communicating better isn't giving anything up. Okay, I'm rambling now. I got those letters. Let me get through a few more here. I just want to pass on what I've learned through a lot of pain. Merry Christmas, Owen. I hope all is well in Idaho for the Benjamins. Sending much love and prayers to you and yours. Keep up the good work. I love your comedy and everything you're doing out there, living in the homestead. Jimmy in Japan. Thanks, Jimmy in Japan. That was very sweet of you. One day I'd love to go to Japan and pretend to be Godzilla. I feel a deal can always benefit both parties. Yeah, absolutely. Dear Owen, it's been a long time since I wrote. I sent you the huge Harold book that Wally loved. I remember that he lost it, and as you were talking about that, I thought the next book should be How Doofus the Dragon Lost His Head, and a listener got it for you. I love that. I ordered the enclosed book for you over a year ago, and I'm now finally putting aside my perfectionism about what to write and doing it. So here is Owls in the Family. I just know that your boys will laugh uproariously reading it. Even now at 52, I cry, I laugh so hard rereading this book. Your content uplifts me and keeps me out of or pulls me from despair. Thank you for your courage and authenticity. I admire what you've done in your life and continue to do. Warmest wishes for a joyous and fruitful holiday season. Onward. Polly. Thank you, Polly. And I can't wait to read it to the boys. That was so nice. That's so awesome. All right. As you can tell by my skin, I'm kind of sweating. I did a big fire and it was kind of overkill. Wonderful letter. Yeah, great letters. I love holiday season.
William says, see that genuine smile when he got some shekels there. Yeah, that's one of the only times that you ever see him genuinely happy, genuinely smile, is whenever it involves people giving him money. There was a live stream, I don't remember which one it was, but he told a story about his children, and it should have been a moment where he did smile and was happy about it. But it wasn't until a couple of minutes after he told the story, whenever it involved somebody giving him money, whenever you saw the genuine happiness come over his face.
Merry Christmas. Oh, this is may peace and healing be your portion this Christmas season. Love to you all from, and then the Bear family. Thank you very much. That was very nice. Appreciate that. Dear Owen, Amy, and family, wishing you all joyous Christmas. Thank you for all you do and sharing your family wisdom and laughs with us. Keep crushing, and cheers to a fruitful 2025. Gen X Florida Bear. Nice. Gen X meets Florida. Oh, this is great. Dude, that looks like my family. It's crazy. I'll read the other ones tomorrow. I'll definitely do a stream tomorrow. Would you guys rather evening or early? What do you guys prefer? All right. Dear Big Bear, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to you and your family. And what a year it has been. Boomers and Pajit Week come fondly to mind. I see you are having technical issues. Unfortunately, that will likely always be the case in this ever-connected and allegedly technically advancing world. I've actually felt a little peace lately. Evening, please have church afternoon your time. Evening it is, Codsworth. How's the technical been today? Has the connection been good? I felt like we've had a bereavement. No, that's the wrong word. The stream really tied the room together. Yeah, those were some wild weeks. Dude, we've had so many wild. That's why I expect people to accept my failures and flaws and downtimes and hit or misses, because the hits are huge. And you wouldn't want it the other way. You would not want me to do the same freaking stream every day. We change all the time. And if whatever I'm saying is bumming you out, just wait. It'll change. As someone who used to do improv theater in both.
That genuinely gave me a good chuckle. We do things differently all the time. It's never the same stream. It's literally the same stream over and over and over and over again. That's one of the reasons why he keeps doing the movie reviews. That's the only time whenever it's a new stream. But even then, it's pretty much the same thing where he finds a character that kind of resembles him and then gives that character praise and worship.
Live and videotape productions. My performance always superb if I did both the performing and technical suffered production. Two halves of the same brain. Anyway, may your technical team come up with the solutions necessary to achieve the goals of the stream. Shout out to Seacow, Codsworth, Tempo. Any other shout outs for the technical stuff? We had IT Bear helped out that one day. So yeah, everybody's been coming together in a big way. In the meantime, may I recommend you take a page from our Pajit friends. Repeat after me. My life, my rules, my attitude. You love me, you hate me. I don't care because it's my life. Listening DJ, I will definitely circle back to unauthorized when time permits. All the best to you and your family and all the bears. May 2025 be bright. Regards, Dystopian Bear. P.S. When in doubt, just give a hawk tow and spit on that thing. Oh yeah, she's disappeared from the internet. I think she might be wanted by the FBI. P.S.S. Have you heard the song Karma Down by Ivan May? I highly recommend. I have not, but I will check it out allegedly if I remember. And then so I have 1, 2, 4 more letters. And again, someone sent me the Smith family band. If one of those letters are that letter, I hope it is. I'm looking for the letter. Such a cool gift. It was all like kazoos and stuff for the Smith family band. I've been receiving some really cool shit. So you guys crush. Very thoughtful. Anchor helped on the audio. Yeah, Gagan. Yeah, Anchor helped on the audio. Gagan has been helpful. He's been a wise old sage the whole time. A lot of people have helped. Yeah, I mean, too many even to name. So I'll just focus on myself. It's all me. I've been coding. All right. I think we're caught up, right, Codsworth? Are we caught up? Don't forget to subscribe to unauthorized.tv. Sorry. Unauthorized.tv, P.O. Box 490, Sandpoint, Idaho, 8386. What the hell's wrong with me? P.O. Box 490, Sandpoint, Idaho, 83864. And give a shout out to all the Postal Service employees. They're absolutely crushing it this year. They always do, but man, that's a good service. Do not take that for granted. Americans have the best Postal Service, with the exception of maybe Switzerland. But America's huge, and it just crushes. BeartariaCampgrounds.com. Check out what we're doing with that. You can support any way you can and see what we got going on with that. And check out, I have some footage from the festival. I'll show you guys tomorrow. We'll do a feel-good one tomorrow. There won't be like a point. It'll be letters, maybe some Christmas music. Maybe I'll show some videos from the festival. Just like feeling good, having a good time. Idaho Bear. Afternoon, BB. Thinking back, I should have helped you find the light bulbs at the bottom shelf at the store, being that it was at my level. Merry Christmas and God bless your family, Idaho Bear. Yeah, I saw Idaho Bear at the store. I was looking for light bulbs for my blinker on my truck. It's very cool meeting you, Idaho Bear. I probably looked disheveled and listening to a podcast and acting strange. So I hope you enjoyed it. But yeah, I did put the blinkers in myself after Spool Bear taught me how to do it. I didn't even hire a Mexican. Yeah, Ballads in the Barn, owensmithpiano.bandcamp.com. Yeah, check that out. And yeah, subscribe to Beartaria Times app. App.beartariatimes.com is the best place to do it. That's like directly, you can subscribe, use it on your desktop or your phone or anything. And then we will, God willing, be rolling out tutorials. And I hope you guys enjoy the app. I love it there. I think we're always trying to improve it. And we're doing the best we can. And the company we work with does a great job. The people that work on it do a great job. So I hope you like it. Did you top your blinker fluid? There's no blinker fluid, Ralph Henry Bear. You're trying to trick me. You're trying to trick the big old bear to humiliate himself again in public. That's okay, BB. You whites need the money. I see the Mexicans becoming white and becoming gay and lazy. So enjoy that. You guys are like the Irish in the 1960s. You know, you're about to get real weak and gay. So enjoy those festive family get-togethers and work ethic and high birth rate and all that. Welcome to America, lady. The Mexicans are about to become entitled homosexuals.
It's one thing you'll notice. You can, I do believe that you can put this to the test. Go pick any random live stream that he's got over on Rumble. Fast forward to the last 30 minutes, and it's always racism and homosexuality. Always. And I think that's because he knows that the people that listen all the way through that are still going to give him money, that's what they want. And that's one of the reasons why he starts ending his live streams about the last hour mark. And then that's what he always goes to.
You know, and then you'll see how fucking gay you really are. Caught up to date? All right, good. Yeah, owenbenjamin.com for the new special. We have clipped and unclipped. So we have the cool version that we edited and all that. And then we have one where there's no edits. It's just, I mean, there's edits of angles, but no crowd work, no bits, nothing's been taken out. I was Irish in the 60s, says Telgaster. Yeah, you guys still were considered a minority. you know, people didn't really want you around, but you worked hard and you had a lot of kids. And then you slowly got the Kennedys and fucking became white and got super gay. Like I have half of my family line is Irish, and I'm basically trans compared to those guys. All right, guys, I'll see you tomorrow, and Merry Christmas. And I can't wait to name 2025 while we're working on a new video. I'm feeling the year of gratitude. I think that sounds awesome, but we'll talk it over. All right, guys, be fruitful, multiply. Don't be fruitful.
All right. William says, Howard Stern is in the same league of projection and narcissism, deviant perversion, and worshiping shekels. Only one nuttier than Owen. Many parallels in behavior that I notice. I'd agree with that. And as he's gotten older, yeah. He really sucks at racism as well. Hey, Soto doesn't even know how to put fluid in his blinker. Right? All right. So that's going to be, I might go live here in a little bit, but 3 hours and 24 minutes is good enough for me this morning. I appreciate it. It's been too long. And hopefully I'll be going live more often than I have in the last couple of weeks. But this is the Texas Goat Radio Show. I appreciate all of y'all. Merry Christmas Eve. And if I don't talk to you till then, Merry Christmas. This is the Texas Goat Radio Show. As always, till next time.